NJCU eSports, and we're going to be going ahead and going into a conference match between NJCU and John Jay College. So it's going to be an interesting one. Going to be quite competitive looking at ranks, general skill levels between the teams. So I am definitely ready to see what this draft cooks up.
Yeah, and we should be getting into draft pretty soon. On the side of NJCU, they've had a number of tricks up their sleeve for the past couple of weeks. One of the big ones is the mid laners. They tend to shift between level 1 Baby Slime and Paco Parrot as their mid laner. This generally ends up being a bit of a funky trick if they can get level 1 Baby Slime Zed, a big pocket pick in the mid lane. If not, Paco Parrot tends to be the more dependable general knowledge mid lane player. Probably the standout on this NJCU team. And absolutely someone to watch out for as the series goes on. But we are getting into the draft. So we've got early Skarner and Katarina bans. Kind of interesting.
Skarner makes sense pretty consistently. Like, strong jungler that is just like, you have to pay the 1,300 gold Skarner tax when you're going against it. So it definitely hurts a lot of times. Trundle ban as well.
Target.
Yeah, that's a target ban against top lane. Their top laner John Jay's top laner seems to play a lot of Trundle top lane, which I think after the recent buffs isn't that bad into a lot of matchups actually.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in seeing a bit more of it. That Nico's also a target, and it's something you see a lot at this kind of level of play, where a lot of players are more experienced on very specific champions that might not be very meta, rather than a more general pool of great champions that are more suited to the current meta. But I think it's probably better to take out those pocket picks and force them to play something more generic. There's the Zilean. I'm expecting support. We saw it last week.
Zilean's an interesting pick. In lane, Zilean kind of struggles because he doesn't add too much in lane. Obviously, he has his bombs that can kind of help him a little bit early with damage, but he doesn't provide quite as much damage as like a mage support. But he also like is in this weird thing of like he can be an enchanter because he can still go Moonstone because of his E, and like I don't know. There's a lot of weird interactions with Zilean, so looking forward to seeing it. And looks like it's probably going to be against a Lulu, but again, both of these picks can be flexed to mid lane and even top lane. At times, we've seen both of those champions actually show up in top lane sometimes, so definitely can be quite wacky. But a Mumu being locked in. Another champ that fell out of favor, I would say, after the Sunfire changes, but I have seen it a little bit still show up every once in a while.
Yeah, and it tends to be a kind of nice pick at this level of play because it's very simple, good gank pathing, great ultimate, great synergy with that Misfortune. Chuki's going to have a great time with the Curse of the Sad Bullet Time combo that we all know and love. So in general, it's a reasonable pick. I've seen NJCU play it before, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a Kai'Sa from the other side. Kai'Sa doesn't have the best laning phase into an MF. MF definitely has just a really strong, consistent laning phase, so it definitely can bully her out in the lane. But Kai'Sa is one of the unique champions where if she hits, let's say MF with a W, or MF gets CC'd at any point, she can just get assassinated by Kai'Sa, especially with even after all the nerfs and stuff that's come to Kai'Sa, she's still very strong, and especially with the Lulu behind her, can do some interesting things. We got an Annie band and a Kindred band.
Those are interesting. Not exactly sure what's up with those, to be honest. I currently like John Jay's draft quite a bit. I like the Kai'Sa paired with the Lulu. It's not the best early laning duo, but I like everything that those two can put together, especially later on to the game when Kai'Sa can do tons of damage. I also really like the Volibear, just a big attention-grabbing tank that allows a bit of free firing from that 80 carry. So stuff I like in that draft so far.
Yeah, I do want to see where the Volibear ends up going, actually, because we saw it even today in the Fnatic SK game. Saw it go into the jungle with a more AP focused build because of how they increased his healing with his W in the jungle, so it makes his clear much healthier. So definitely I want to see if it ends up going in a top lane or if it continues to be in the jungle.
Yep, still a couple of picks left to see. Currently unable to see them, but apart from that...
Yeah, we see NJCU end up closing out their bans with the Sejuani ban. Makes sense because they had a... so it looks like it is end up being a Volibear in the top lane. They ended up picking a Hecarim in the jungle, as well as a pretty safe pick in the Orianna in the mid lane and a Wukong in the top lane. So NJCU has got the Wombo combo central when it comes to their team comp. They got the Wukong in the top lane. They got a Mumu in the jungle. They got Orianna Shockwave. They got Bullet Time. And they got Zilean Double Bomb as well. So they got lots of AoE, CC, big damage coming out. And John Jay gonna close out their draft with a Lux. Probably gonna end up going in the mid lane to kind of deal with this Orianna. Lux fares pretty well because she has quite a long range and can keep Orianna at arm's length for the most part. So
and on top, on top of a lot of those benefits that the NJCU team comp has, it's also just a lot of comfortable champions. Orianna is very simple but comfortable for a lot of players. Wukong is very comfortable for Don't Miss Your Mark, I believe, who will be in the top lane. Chuki and likely level 1 Bane Climb in the bottom lane have played the Misfortune Zilean duo before. It's a lot of champions that these players have just done before, and it's always good to be able to have that kind of consistency, especially when that consistency still gives you a pretty nice team composition and team fighting potential.
Yeah, and I want to. I'm trying to think how does John Jay's team comp kind of go into NJCU's, right? Because NJCU obviously has this very potent wombo combo potential, but like overall, how does John Jay want to like look to fight into NJCU's team?
I think a lot of it will just be trying to dive onto Chuki playing that Misfortune, as well as into the Orianna in the mid lane. Those two champions are definitely on the frailer side, don't have a ton of mobility, and when you have things like the Hecarim and the Kai'Sa, even the Volibear as well as that, we're able to dive in fairly safely, as well as the Lux, who can follow up from very long range and do a ton of damage from that ultimate, the Final Spark, I think. But when you have all of those things added together, it ends up with a big burst of damage that your backline targets might not be very ready for. And I mean, there's only one Zilean ultimate, so you can't really be protecting both of your carries, and it might be too fast for you to even use the ultimate, especially on full Wi-Fi like this. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be a difference. I think a lot of it's going to be on that onslaughts. Because like that's just what Hecarim's job is. He wants to get that backline access. I do want to see what he ends up going build-wise, because there has been a very large popularity in the Turbo Chem Tank build with Tank Hecarim, as well as what this Volibear ends up building. And yeah, like there's a lot of different variations. A lot of these champions in Go, because even even Lux, I wonder if she's going to be going the more. She's probably going to be end up going the more AP heavy build. But I feel like she could get a lot of value off of something like a Moonstone or Moonstaff build in this game specifically, because she has the big frontline she needs, right? She has the Hecarim, she has the Volibear, as well as she has amazing AP ratios on all of the champions she's going to be buffing. Volibear, insane AP ratios on his W, his ult, as well as Hecarim on his ult and his W. Kai'Sa, notorious for being an extremely strong hybrid champion, and even Lulu can get a lot of AP and buff that Kai'Sa even stronger. So I would prefer to see that sort of a build come out from the Lux, but let's see what ends up happening.
Yeah, it definitely is an option. There is a lot of flexibility in this John Jay team composition. They don't really have to rely on one individual to keep the entire game going, especially if someone's doing especially well in the early game. You can go a bit flexible on something like the Hecarim or the Volibear and just say, damagey Volibear or damagey Hecarim, and suddenly that becomes a major threat for the other team to have to deal with as the game moves forward. Even still, it means they'd have to create that kind of advantage in the early game, and I always worry because I've done a couple of these NJCU casts, and it tends to happen where NJCU just gets ahead in the early and mid game. They just have a better understanding of macro. They just understand what they are doing so much better, and that's what I'm going to be looking out for in this game, is whether John Jay can really keep up with NJCU pace-wise over the course of the game, because I think the draft is perfectly fine. I think the draft has solid strengths, not a ton of clear weaknesses. Definitely a way to win late game team fights, definitely a way to win early game skirmishes. I just need to see them execute on it for a 25 plus minute game and actually destroy a Nexus, because that's how you win.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, it's always about destroying the enemy Nexus. And yeah, like about a lot of these lane matchups, it might be a little bit on the difficult side for like NJCU in the top lane. One thing about Volibear is like he has very mixed damage throughout the laning phase, because his E Sky Splitter does a lot of damage, and sometimes is even maxed first. So it can definitely keep him shielded and keep him winning a lot of these trades in the top lane against Wukong. So I want to see what kind of counterplay comes back and forth between early itemization for these top laners, because both of them rely on healing and shielding for a lot of their trades, especially the Wukong with his new passive and everything. So I want to see if there's some sort of counterplay that comes in, such as like maybe an Executioner's or a Bramble Vest coming out from either of them to help out with that healing reduc, as well as they're both fairly auto attack heavy champions, so maybe even an early plated steel caps rush or something of the sort. Mm-hmm. And then in the mid lane, how do you think that's gonna go?
I always lean towards Paco Parrot doing really well. I don't expect a lot of aggression. These are two mages and fairly long range ones at that. Oriana's pretty well known for being a champion that doesn't really do much until at least level 6. Lux doesn't really have the opportunity to do a whole lot. Jungler intervention would probably be required, and these junglers honestly wait until 6 as well, so it could be a little slow around that mid lane in the early levels, but we could see something really exciting happening if we do see someone come and visit. Namely, I think we have to look out for John Jay's jungler to be doing that.
Yeah, because Hecarim early can definitely get some work in with his Ghost. It's extremely low cooldown, so kind of just gank whenever it's off cooldown and look to kind of put pressure on across the whole map and find plays. So definitely want to see how that ends up going. We do see the Hecarim ends up going the phase rush, so might be opting in for the tank build, because that is what you end up going for that. And looks like my dreams are crushed because the Lux is going electrocute, so that probably means not the Moonstone build, but one
Probably
thing
going to be
to
Luden's Echo if I had to guess. Potentially Everfrost as well, because that's been a very popular, very flexible pick for mages. But to be honest, I'm just expecting the Luden's Echo, get the maximum damage possible, see what you can do with that.
yeah, as well as I'm kind of surprised on the Comet for the side of the Zillion support, because there's a lot of other options in the sense of Zillion support, because like I've seen everything from Airy to even Guardian at times, to just to like help him get through laning phase. But definitely the more aggressive rune choice in taking the Arcane Comet, as well as Amumu, especially now, has started always going Conquer. It just, you don't think about it, but it makes a lot of sense when you think a little bit more deeper and like understand why it does so much for him. Because his E procs on like a weird, it's an AoE ability, but it counts as single target because it attacks each person individually, so he gets a massive amount of healing off of that. And so it can do like it just keeps him alive in team fights, especially once he gets his first 2 core items for so long. Once he gets, it's probably going to be a Sunfire Aegis and a Demonic Embrace, because those are the very core and essential items when it comes to Amumu in the jungle.
Yeah, it ends up being a really valuable option. We'll see. I do like this Amumu pick overall. I think that Amumu is a very interesting champion that has a lot of options. Even still, it will be difficult just to get onto some of these targets. It's tough to stick to Kaisa. It is tough to get onto Lux at such a long range. There are a lot of difficulties that you can find in what Amumu can do against those kinds of champions. But even still, there are options in jumping onto those champions. Wukong is great at it. Even a champion like Oriana Ball plus Wukong Ultimate, it's plenty of AoE CC.
Yep. And then if you throw a Curse of the Sad Money on top of that and a bullet time, and teams just kind of evaporate. So it's gonna be a very fun one looking forward into the future, and like mid game or even like smaller skirmishes that can just do a lot of work for NJCU.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wonder. I want to know what you think these junglers' pathing is probably going to be. Right off the bat, we see.
Looks like we
the
missed
most
a level 1
parts-
solo kill in the top lane. Apologies for that. Looked like Kled and Scrawl got a big 1v1 up in the top lane onto Don't Miss Your Mark. That's a pretty big early advantage. You don't want to be letting a Volibear get something like that. So
Yeah, definitely. Especially Volibear, just such a potent laner, gets so much, just so much like value off of early game. Like his Sky Splitter just does so much damage. It gives a nice big shield to like win a lot of these trades. And if you don't respect that, it will chunk you consistently. And you know, as I said earlier, we got the Doran's Ring start, which is pretty normal for Volibear, because he has really good AP ratios and is a very fairly mana hungry champion when you do start using those E's and W's consistently in lane. But now we got Amumu in the top lane, but it's just gonna Volibear is gonna take down the Wukong in the meantime. But is Amumu gonna be able to take back a kill? He is with the bandage touch. Beautiful stuff. Both flashes are going to be traded, so 1 for 1 in the favor, or 1 for 1. You know, I would say probably still in the favor of John Jay, because the wave state, looks to be slightly actually, Wave State seems to be slightly in the favor of NJCU. So,
I mean, just for
but
here's another gangster.
Hecarim coming in the bot lane now, and we got Wukong TPing in. Oh no, Paco pair is actually going to be TPing in, but doesn't seem like anything's going to come in. Flash going to be used just in case. Great stuff from Paco to go ahead and use that TP nice and quick, so he doesn't have to deal with his bot lane dying. Great stuff, keeping his eye on the map. We do see Cosmic Binds using the Ghost to try to catch up the Orianna in the river, but not quite getting anything.
Ooh.
So much damage coming out from that early volley bear. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, this top lane's turning into a bit of a problem for NJCU. I am traditionally very thinking a lot of an early top lane lead, especially when it is a champion like Volley Bear against a champion like Wukong. Like, Wukong can always come back into the game and feel fine in a team fight, and Volley Bear isn't necessarily going to take over a game in that sense, but despite both of those facts, it is always scary when something like this happens. And
level 6 though, so he doesn't care about this turret because it's just gonna get disabled, and just not letting don't miss your mark. He's just not letting him play the game.
Yeah,
Kled
I mean,
Skrull,
and that was
just beautiful stuff.
Yeah, TP had to be burned in order to get back there, so this is going to be a large portion of this tower. Scavs Ate My Legs has to go back and deal with that, but isn't really going to be able to kill Kled. It's just going to be watching, just kind of monitoring, making sure that's not a tower taken, but that's a lot of early gold in that top lane. There's a Scuttle Crab for good measure.
Yeah, as well as like that just allows Cosmic to just kind of sit on the top side. He gets that Scuttle Crab because Kled or Volibear is further ahead, so it makes his life easier. He has a pressure lane to kind of work around. And as I said earlier, bot lane about even, looking a little bit ahead for the MF because, so much poke coming out from the MF and the Zilean early on. So it can definitely make a pretty big difference and, slight CS lead for their troubles. But Amumu seems to be just out-pathing the Hecarim in the sense of is pretty decently far ahead in the jungle CS. Wise 50 to 40 CS and having access to his ultimate already, looking for a lane gank it seems.
Yeah, pretty interesting pathing for a lane gank. Ooh, that was a good double bomb. I don't know if they'll be able to get anything out of it. They're just a little bit too far back.
Yeah, seems to, they might be able to go for a dive here because the wave is fairly stacked, it doesn't crash. So they might be able to look something, but I think they know Scav is in this bush, but let's see if they saw him on the minions or not. It doesn't look like it.
Bandage I don't think that this is very reasonable. Oh, that definitely.
Looked for it, didn't get it. It's non-committal, it's fine, so.
Yeah. NJCU looking just a little bit lost in this early game. I've seen him look like this before, but never.
Ooh, the bullet time with the double bomb, not quite gonna be able to take out Spitzin, but Cosmic gonna be coming in the back, might just take out Chuki. The Zilean also be coming out. Chuki's just gonna turn it on the Kaisa. Spies in, it might end up going down, but hits level 6 and gets the wild growth off. Cosmic, what will he be able to do? Not quite anything. The Curse of the Sad Mummy comes through, and Sassy Spaghetti's too late, but in the top lane, Kled and Skrull end up gonna take it down. Don't miss your mark once again in a solo kill. So, that hurts.
So ignoring the stuff in the top lane, that's something that Chuki and Level 1 Baby Slime are just great at, is they can 2v2 absolutely fantastically. This is actually not going to do anything. But their 2v2 potential is absolutely fantastic. The damage that, and it was so intelligent as well, knowing that they had the damage to take out both of those bottom laners. Spitzer had the wild growth and didn't go down, but would have had the damage to take out both of those bottom laners and just said, okay, we're going to get some health back with this ultimate, and we are just going to keep fighting here. I think we can actually make this fight work. And they did make the fight work, and that went very well. And while the top lane is going horrendously, the rest of the map's actually going pretty well, and that's why this gold difference is really not that significant, despite the gigantic gold chasm in the top lane. I mean, it's 2,500 gold in the top lane, but everywhere else, NJCU is leading by a pretty decent margin. So a lot of this point in the game coming up is going to be trying to create that mismatch where NJCU is trying to make sure that any fight includes Kled and NJCU is trying to make sure that no fights include that gigantic volley bear.
Yeah, definitely. Because you see, like, even at the top, like, it's only a 400 gold lead for John Jay over here, and it's ultimate's being traded. Great stuff from Zest Spaghetti, looking, knowing that his jungler was there and punishing for that all-in aggression. Oh, the bullet time. The Wild Growth comes out, but not quite able to do it again. The Wild Growth saving by 1 HP, but Kled and Skrull comes in with the beautiful Volley Bear TP. Make sure it's not allowed to stay alive. Disabling the turret with the Stormbringer. Just going to wait for the Zilean to come back. And it's like, I'm ahead. I can tank this turret for days. So great stuff for from Kled and Skrull to really, move his lead across the map. He's like, I'm gonna help out my other lanes.
Yeah, and that's the mismatch that John Jay were looking for. They had to find that place on the map that Kled and Skrull could be, and that was it. It was that TP into the bottom lane. TP won't be available for a bit. It's something to look out for. Maybe don't miss your mark and try to make something happen. Incredibly weak still, but the ultimate's available. Anything can happen when you have AoE/CC. So NJCU really has to find something with that and make sure that they aren't like suffering losses across the map from this volley bear exerting more pressure. And you have to be able to soak up the pressure that is being sent, I guess, by this volley bear, because you can't really deal. Ooh, good flash.
Great flash from Paco. I'm gonna not get hit back by the devastating charge from the Hecarim. So is he gonna lose his flash though? So if he can definitely get punished much harder without flash in the mid lane on this Orianna. And Cosmic gonna get spotted out in the bot lane, not gonna find anything. He does have his ultimate ready to go. So can definitely make something happen, but I said earlier, Chuki with a pretty sizable CS lead at this point with the Kraken Slayer completed just makes such a huge difference in comparison to Dark Danzy just not being able to find anything. Oh, ooh. Cosmic gonna end up whiffing the ultimate. Not quite there, but great stuff overall. Looking for the regank on the flash. A little bit of a mechanical misplay, but in the bot lane, Bolt Time gonna come out, and Dark Nancy's gonna have to waste his flash on that to stay alive. Cosmic looking for an invade, but he should be able to take this just because he has Kled and Skrull by his side, but his bot lane on the other side of the map is just getting bullied out. Chuku with no mana though, so it is not the most fortunate of situations, but overall the map state still favoring John Jay for now.
Yeah, John Jay's got a bit of that map state. Ooh, that's
Scav's gonna use Bandage Toss into the Curse that said Mummy, and that should flashing over to match it. Sassy for Spaghetti, 1 HP, making it out alive. Beautiful stuff, and Cosmic escort his Lux out of there as well. Just gonna say, no, you can't kill my mid laner.
Yeah, and
I'm
something
here
I
as
didn't
well.
actually notice on the front of that play was that Paco Parrot was without an ultimate. Scav's also without an ultimate, so the only CC was that bandage toss. As soon as that was gone, Sassy was just able to walk right out of it. So, well, had to flash, but still able to not really have to worry about CC on the back of it. This is such a dominant bottom lane that NJCU has right now. It's just that it's turning into value. It just hasn't gotten a ton of kills. It hasn't completely broken open the game in the same way that Kled and Skarl with the Volibear in the top lane has done that. Although I'm wondering if that's slowing down, has not gotten a kill in a while. Don't Miss Your Mark is losing a lot less CS than before. That's the big problem with this long top lane is that while it is a bit easier to get those solo kills over time, it can also be a little difficult to get close to your opponent if you're just pushing in a wave, your opponent pushes the wave back. It can be difficult to actually interact if you do want to interact. And that will be the important thing as this game goes on is, can this Volibear with just the ultimate and the Q, not great forms of mobility, be able to find a way onto these priority targets like right now?
Yeah, he was
Answer
looking
appears to
for.
be no.
Yeah, he looks for a little bit of a flankaroonie through the bush, but gets spotted out by the minions. Not quite able to find too much value off of it, but I do like the build overall. He is going for more of a tanky build with the Frostfire Gauntlet. So he's kind of going to be able to be that big beefy tank in the front line. He's going to be going right onto the MF in the back line. The bullet time going to come out, and Chuki just going to get chunked so low, but the Zillion ultimate is going to go off, and Kled and Skrull going to end up going down at the end of it. His team just was not there to help him in that. The whole bot lane of NJCU was there, so made his life quite miserable with that Zillion ultimate. So
Yeah, it was the NJCU bot lane plus Paco Parrot as well. A lot of members just focusing him down, and it ended up being a 1-for-1. Ooh, that's another kill right there. Level 1 Baby Slime is very good with these double bombs. Something that I have noticed in the zillion games that I've seen. But yeah, a couple of nice wins for NJCU, and claw it back. They find those numbers advantages in the mid game and just kind of break it open from there. That's another tower taken as well. As I mentioned before, just macro advantages that they're able to find. They're actually ahead on gold again. They've evened up the dragon count. The next one is Mountain. I saw it in the corner, and level 1 Baby Slime's dead. Bit unfortunate there.
yeah, it happens, but Kled Skrull in the mid lane looking for something, but not quite able to find anything with that phase rush from the Orianna. But the Cyclone going to come out from Don't Miss Your Mark, and Dark Dancy's going to end up going down, and that's how Zukong starts getting back into the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I kind of said it before. While Don't Miss Your Mark has gone maybe a little bit far on the other end, going for the Kindle Gem, not the Kindle Gem, the Bami's Cinder. There we go. Building into a tank item. I don't think that's absolutely necessary, but it will absolutely get you, because this Wukong really just needs to farm up. Like, there's not a whole lot else you need to do. Just be there for team fights, ult when you need to ult. You don't have to provide all that much to be incredibly valuable to your team. And as a top laner, it's unlikely that you are going to be the sole reason for a loss or the one carrying your team to a victory, especially on champions like Wukong or Volibear. Like, that's the issue, is that this Volibear is still technically very strong, but we have not seen a whole lot of value from it.
Spits in, gonna face check a bush that he does not have vision in, and the Bandage Tosh into the Curseless at Mummy, gonna just take him back to the fountain nice and quick. Kled and Skrull on the bot lane, gonna end up getting the tier 1 tower, so he's just getting more and more gold in his pockets. Great stuff. The shockwave gonna come out. The top lane
Ooh.
though, Sassy for Spaghetti is getting low. The barrier gonna come out as well. Paco Parrot is by himself though. Level 1 Baby Slime sets up the double bombs to make sure that the Volibear won't be able to get on Paco Parrot, but will he stay alive? With the Frostfire Gauntlet slow is just gonna keep him, ooh, not quite in range, and he's gonna end up going down.
Wow.
And Chalky's gonna end up taking down 2 on the other side of the fight. Don't Miss Your Mark's just gonna flash in and condemn Sassy for Spaghetti to his fate back to the fountain. So it looks like NJCU is going to be clawing their way back into this game with some pretty good team fighting and great macro calls with the TP coming in from Don't Miss Your Mark as well.
Yeah, and somehow Paco Parrot, the one who gets jumped on to start the fight, exits with double buffs and a bunch of kills on the back of it. Definitely really smart altogether from Paco Parrot. Always knew how to maximize that damage, always knew, even without the shockwave used at the start of the engagement. It was just really smart. And that was another instance where NJCU, I don't think, used any teleports to get over there. Don't Miss Your Mark might have used teleport, but
yeah, Don't Miss Your Mark used one, and so did Clet Scroll. So
yeah, I think it was 1-for-1 teleport, but even still, I think that NJCU just had their bot lane rotating over faster. You could see level 1 Baby Slime had double bomb, where Clet and Scarl was about to teleport in. So that's an immediate stun. It's really difficult to deal with that. It's a bunch of damage on the front end, and Shuki was also doing a bunch of damage on that other side of the fight. So just so much that NJCU was able to do just based on the numbers advantage that they had in every part of that fight.
Yeah, so Paco Parrot just able to stay super elusive with his phase rush on the Orianna and just not let Clet and Skrull, even with all of the slowing from the Frostfire Gauntlet, just able to stay away, and Tuki was able to kind of take 2 out on the back end. So because Cosmic Mind's going for the tank heavy build, so just isn't able to 1v1 to output the DPS.
I don't know about
the
this
Stormber gonna come in, and Clan Scarl just gonna go in, and Dark Danzy gonna take the shutdown. Beautiful stuff to give it to your AD carry. And yeah, I said Paco Parrot was being elusive, but not quite elusive enough for a Volibear flashing, you know.
Yeah, caught a little bit too far out that time. Burning the flash. Ooh, that was a too good of an
follow-off though, but beautiful stuff from Cosmic. Gonna dive right in with that Hecarim ultimate. Level 1 Baby Slime gonna have to use the ultimate on himself, but Dark Danzy's gonna end up going down. Cleanse Scroll, will he be able to get onto the MF? Yes, he will. Chuki's gonna end up going down, and Don't Miss Your Mark is the final one remaining. Not quite able to do too much without having his team to follow up with him. So great stuff from John Jay to find the team fight that they really needed.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing about playing a Mumu is sometimes you get a really cool ultimate and it looks great, and so many people are stunned for so long, and there's absolutely no follow-up damage to it. And they just kind of got wiped out by a much better damaging ultimate by Sassy on the Lux, just absolutely popping the entire team. Chuki got an okay MF ultimate off, but there just was not the altogether damage there. And I believe Paco was just dead still the entire time, so wasn't able to provide anything there. This team is a bit lower on damage than it feels like it should be, because Scavs isn't really building damage, and Don't Miss Your Mark, who most Wukongs would be building at least some damage at this point, is just going for the Sunfire Cape and might have some kind of AD item coming up next, but didn't have it for that fight, so just no damage there. But thankfully for NJCU, it was just the second Mountain Dragon. I doubt we are going to go to Soul.
Ooh, but we see Don't Miss Your Mark going in with the Cyclone, but he's not quite tanky enough to keep tanking, but the Zillion ulti is going to come out. Scavs ate my legs is going to be finding the Hecarim in the bot side, or in the river. Gonna have to waste the Curse of the Set Mummy, but is it a waste? It is in the end. The Shockwave not going to kill Cosmic. Great unstoppable onslaught to get himself out of there. Paco gonna go and take his blue buff as consolation prize not getting the kill onto Cosmic. But pressure seeming to go away for the most part. While Cleanse Scarl still pushing in the bot lane. Oh, don't miss your mark. Gonna get caught up with that light binding.
Yeah, and despite the tank items being built here, that is still a pretty squishy Wukong. Not a whole lot of passive defenses, anything that Wukong has internally that's really going to help you survive all that much. So if you do just get hit like that, you're pretty dead.
Yeah, his passive only gives him armor, not the MR needed to live through Lux's damage. So great stuff in the end of it all, but looks like he's probably going to be going towards something like a Black Cleaver, which I like. It's kind of questionable because there's only really one other AD threat, but there is quite a lot of armor on the other side, so it can be quite helpful. I definitely think Chuki should probably be going for Lord Dominic's Regards rather than any BF sword item, to be completely honest, here, just to make sure that she's doing, or they're doing, just massive amounts of damage to Kled and Skrull, as well as the Hecarim, even through all of that armor and all that health stacking, just gonna end up biting them in the bum with the Lord Dominic's passive. But overall, itemization, pretty interesting. Scavs ate my legs, opting not to go for the Demonic Embrace, which is the usual kind of core item that a lot of Amumu's go for, and just going for more the full tank route.
Yeah, I can't say I've been super surprised. I will say that level 1 Baby Slime going for the Luden's Echo is a bit bold, but I don't necessarily mind it getting an extra kind of damage dealer in there. Has actually helped out quite a bit in some of these fights. So it's something that I will keep my eye on as this progresses forward. Maybe I will think that another enchanter item should have been preferred. It's always scary when Chuki takes damage like that. Another mist.
Chuki able to get out of the Hecarim combo, so was also, Zillion ulted, so both their pretty big teamfight ultimates gonna go away, and Volibear does still have the Stormbringer in pocket. The final spark not quite able to find Chuki's life, able to limp away at just under 100 HP.
Yeah, really close on that one, but not able to find it. I don't know that this will be a kill. I don't know. Oh, now they've got a damage dealer here.
They've got the third. Scav ate my legs is just going to keep trying to stick on him, but he doesn't really do much damage. And Cleanse Scarl just going to, beautiful target selection. Go for the Zillion, the squishiest member of the lot, and going to walk away with a kill in his pocket and his life. So he's chilling.
Yeah, and NJCU really has to start finding some of these fight wins soon, or just skirmish wins, any kind of wins, because they are very slowly losing the war of attrition in this one. They haven't lost anything that they can't eventually take back. This will be another dragon. Puts John Jay on soul point. It means that the next couple of dragons are going to have to be a lot more contested, because with a team like this, you really don't want to give over 3 mountain dragons plus a mountain soul. That's just going to be way too tanky for a team like this to try to work past.
Spits in, not the place you want to be. Ends up getting love tap plus shockwaved into Oblivion, back into the fountain. Great stuff from Paco, knowing that, is Lulu's not in the place that she should be. So
Paco's been really good on the shockwaves this game. It's been pretty impressive. Basically all of them have landed. It's just how useful have they been, and a lot of them have done really big chunks of damage, if not gotten kills.
Scav ate my legs, going for the flash bandage toss, but the unstoppable onslaught gonna keep him away. The double bomb's not gonna stun him because of it, and gonna make it out alive just barely. But they can still look to pressure, but they're going to be just looking for the mid lane, because Kled and Skrull just pushing that in and making sure that if NJCU try to go for something fancy, they're not going to be able to get too much without him getting the mid tower. So don't miss your mark. Gonna get chunked pretty hard by that final spark as well. Sassy for Spaghetti doing a pretty good job with just chunking people out with this full combo and just using the final spark pretty liberally. And I like it because the final spark is such a low cooldown once you have especially 2 items, and like you just don't have to worry about it. Like it will be up for basically every team fight, so you can just kind of throw it out, chunk people out, and just get pressure on the map because of it and use it to the best of your advantage.
And it works very well with the Luden's Echo as well, that cooldown. Both of them will come back pretty quickly. Luden's Echo a bit faster, but both come back pretty quickly and just get to pump out tons of damage. It's great. That was a weird interaction with the wards.
Yeah, it was just a ward on top of a ward, so you can't really see what was happening, but yeah.
But yeah, right now I'm focused on, because these teams are really close in gold overall, actually. There's some minor differences between the individual champions.
Ooh, Unstoppable Onslaught coming out to catch out level 1 Baby Slime, and that's the Chrono Shift gonna come out, and that's just ooh, the flash coming out though. Scabbing my legs with a massive ultimate, and Chuki able to follow up with the bullet time, but Cleanse Scrawl in the back line. Chuki just gonna eat up the back line from the other team though. Cleanse Scrawl trying his damnedest to take Paco down, but not quite enough.
And that might just be it's not going to be the end of the game, but that might have just been the game-breaking team fight right there. Absolutely fantastic job by especially Scavs, as well as level 1 Baby Slime, to be honest. Everyone was in the position that they needed to, and as soon as they saw John Jay caught out of position, they didn't really have the right angle on that fight. They were all surrounding one member. Perfect time for a huge Amumu ultimate and a huge Misfortune ultimate on the back of it. There was no answer they had to it. And it was a great job even after that ultimate, splitting up the fight. Chuki, one of the weaker members, knew that there was no damage left in the back line, and so she was just able to kind of stand near the back, attack the Lulu, attack the mostly dead Hecarim, and let the rest of the tankier members deal with the Volibear. They can kite him away better. So overall, just a very, very good team fight from NJCU. Now we'll have to see. They got the Baron off the back of it. That is huge. We will just have to see what they get off of it. The big problem with Barons at this stage of the game is that if you get a Baron, a lot of the time it will be around where a dragon spawns, and since the Baron's temporary and the dragon is always, you don't want to get soul, maybe you want to confirm soul. Sometimes you're not going to get big Baron pushes because you're going for dragon instead. This could be a big pick though.
But Cleanse Scrawl gonna use, just gonna get on out with the Volibear Q, gonna give him the little extra move speed and get him out of there. But yeah, dragon spawning right now, and it is a huge swing if John Jay are able to get this. But I think
if you're John Jay, you just, well, that was close, but I think that is the best way that they could have contested it. I think they probably should have had more people across the map. Try to take back some of the control, try to take back mid pressure, top pressure, because now a lot of the disadvantages of focusing all 5 members at Dragon for NJCU have kind of been wiped away since everybody from John Jay was also around Dragon.
Ooh, scabbing my legs though with a beautiful Curse of the Sad Mummy and the bullet time coming out. Cleanse Scrawl gonna end up getting onto Chuki though and take him down, but he's gonna have to limp away from the fight at 1 HP, but without their AD carry, they're not gonna get too much more, maybe?
They want more.
They want
the problem
more.
is that the healing is big from the
coming
Fountain.
back from Fountain, looking for something. Scav ate my legs, gonna end up getting low, gonna get taken down. Level 1 Baby Slime low, the kill instinct coming out. but no cigar. Paco Para able to zone him off with a massive damage coming up from this Oriana. Great stuff. 2 for 2 at the end of it all, as well as an inhibitor going the way of NJCU. So, not, that's the end of their Baron. They did have to waste a lot of it on making sure that Soul was not taken. But still, they got the mid inhib, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it was definitely about what they wanted to get out of it. I really don't think that you can give up the Dragon Soul in exchange for pressure that you have from Baron. And as long as you're not giving up that Dragon Soul, getting an inhibitor, getting a Nexus turret, that's pretty good. Even with how that fight went out, I believe 2 for 2 at the end of things, not all that bad. It could have been a lot better. It probably could have been game ending with very small changes. But now NJCU is definitely in the driver's seat of this game and just needs one more good push to close it out. One more good team fight, one more Baron. They're very close. So John Jay has to find something to really bring them back into this one. I don't think the Volley Bear can really do it for you anymore. Nearly full build. There's only so much bigger that this Volley Bear can get, and it is just a tank. It's not going to be doing a ton of damage for you. You have to have the damage coming from someone else. You have to have the damage coming from someone who isn't going to die really quickly. That's going to be the big difficult part for John Jay in these team fights.
Yeah, like even if Chuki ends up going down, Paco is, able to stay alive and kind of weave his way in and out of these fights. Cosmic's looking for something, but not gonna find anything quite yet. But, Paco's just doing a really good job in staying out of threat ranges of the Volibear. They're keeping their carries nice and split, so both of them don't get hit by a lot of this Volibear damage. And most of this Volibear damage is single target. Like, his ult is AoE, but at the end of the day, his W, his Q are very single target damage. So like, he's only going to be able to take out one person. So it really, the onus is on Sassy for Spaghetti or Dark Dandy to get something going onto one of the other carries, and that's it. Paco's going to end up going down, but the bullet time going to take out Dark Dandy on the backside. But Kled and Scrawl just going to be massive with this Gargoyle Stone Plate, just going to take down Chuki, and Sassy for Spaghetti going to clean up the kill, and a triple kill going over Don't Miss Your Mark, and level 1 Baby Slime are just going to have to run away with their tail tucked between their legs.
So that's pretty big, but I'm not sure what John Jay are going to be able to get out of that. The Baron is up now. It will be a 4v2 around it, but I think the poke that level 1 Baby Slime can put out might be decent, and there is no Kaisa there who'd be the big one to shred this Baron. It might be a little slow. It's going down reasonably fast. All members are heading over there. TP is available for Paco Parrot when respawning, so this could be close. Spitzer might also just die.
Yeah, Spitzen very, very low, and there is not an 80 carry to help DPS down this Baron. It is just 2 tanks whacking away at it. So definitely, and they're both out of mana as well now, so it is going to make their lives a lot harder. Paco Parrot is going to use his TP and make sure they're not able to get it. Going to zone them back away. The Dragon's respawning as well in 2 seconds. Like, that's... I don't know what's happening here, but... Kled Scrawl is going to have to end up backing. Cosmic has to stay for this Dragon, but I think they just have to give it up. Yeah, they're just not going to contest it. Maybe look for a steal, but Sassy for Spaghetti not ready for it. So a second Mountain Soul going the way of NJCU, and the value of Mountain Dragon is really hidden because it's not something that you can see in the gold graph. It's very much something that you have to kind of watch for and understand. And like, even the smallest bits of like armor or magic resist can just make such a huge difference because of Mountain Soul. But at the end of the day, level 1 Baby Slime just gonna have to use Chrono Shift on himself, but the Shockwave is gonna take down Spitzen with a bomb. Beautiful stuff. great stuff from Paco, watching out, and Baron naturally gonna end up getting taken down. Level 1 baby slime gonna have to use the Zanya's cleanse scroll in the backline. Chuki just disappears. Are they gonna be able to find Paco though? Gonna get stunned. Paco gonna end up going down. Cleanse scroll is huge in this fight. Not dying on this volley bear. Don't miss your mark is gonna get low and gonna get taken down as well. Quadra kill for this volley bear. Absolutely massive at 6 items with his Gargoyle Stone Plate. Just gonna walk into the top lane and look for maybe even an inhibitor off this, because it's just level 1 baby slime left.
Yeah, and that was a really good setup on the front of it. They just had to make sure they got all of their members out alive. I don't know why Chuki decided to go for that bullet time. It was just not the right place to do it. You were not going to get a ton of value out of it. Just auto attack there. You're not really trying to win that team fight. You have Baron, just leave. Now, most of their members have lost to Baron. You're setting yourself up for what's amounting to probably a 50-50 around Mountain Soul that's going to decide a lot of the back end of this game. And we are past the 40-minute mark. This is a long game, especially by college standards. Usually you're not going to see much longer than 20-25 where the game is decided, but we're still in a very close game this late into it. It does feel like NJCU can close it out with one good team fight, but they have just not found it. They were so close there. It felt like they were going to do it. They got one pick. They got Baron. Everything felt like they were going to go completely fine there. Even if you sacrifice level 1 baby slime, it's 1 for 1. You lose your support's Baron. Just go, leave, get out of there. You have Baron. Unfortunately, they just get caught by everything there, and Kled and Skrull still putting in work, still providing for the team, just despite everything, despite all of the scaling in this game, despite so many champions in that late game point, still providing a ton here. We are just over 2 minutes from the Mountain Soul spawning. These teams are really setting up around it. They know that this is the important spot in the map for the game, but they don't really know what they want to do around it right now. So it's kind of just waiting around.
Not much. Yeah, the thing is, there's not much to do, because like Dragon spawning in a minute 30, that's the next big objective. That's what you have to kind of look for. And like, I really want to see what item spikes are coming up, because I want to see what exactly might, really make or breaks this next team fight, because that's really what you're looking for when Dragon is this nearby. You want to just complete an item to make sure that you're just able to output DPS in this next fight. And I really like from Chuki, we finally see this Lord Dominic's Regards, going to make his life a lot easier into these 2 big tanks, and actually allow him to deal damage against these 2 massive tanks, because he was just not able to eat through these tanks quite as easily as he just wasn't able to eat through these tanks. And now his damage is going to do so much more to Kled and Skrull, and he actually has to be, Kled and Skrull has to start being a little bit scared of Chuki's damage if Chuki positions carefully in these team fights.
But these last team fights just haven't been that careful, and that's the important thing. I do want to see, we are 30 seconds away now, I kind of want to see Chuki nestled somewhere, kind of back of something, with good vision behind a wall, kind of just making sure that Chuki isn't in a dangerous spot, isn't just going to get jumped on by Kled and Skrull at the start of a fight. Here we go.
Scab at my legs is going to be caught out here, though. He's just by himself on the edge of the fight. Going to get a pretty decent Curse of the Sad Mummy, but Chuki just going to get jumped on, but with level 1 baby slime might be able to live. Chuki able to flash out, but Kled and Skrull still alive, but Paco's still alive as well, able to take him down slowly but surely. Great stuff. Just ace ending up from NJCU. On the back of the fight, we saw it seems like Paco ended up taking out Sassy for Spaghetti and Dark Danzy in the back of that fight. So
and that's the late game Orianna for you. Huge hyper carry towards the later stages of the game. Does have a lot of potential to do a lot of damage, and into a team like this, if you can find the squishy members, you can kite away the less squishy members. Kled and Scrawl was doing quite a bit there. Chuki doesn't necessarily have the tools to kite as well, but Oriana, very easy to kite away. Just toss the ball, goodbye, I'm not going to interact with you. And that was a humongous team fight. As well as that, Chuki surviving just that second more and making sure that kill came through onto Spritzen. Overall, just a really, really good ending by NJCU. It was really rough throughout. Both of these teams had a lot of upside. It's got to be rough for the side of John Jay losing that game after being ahead at certain points, after having such a good early game, after having such a huge lead for their top laner. But at the end of the day, that just isn't what's going to do it for you. So
Yeah, like Clinton Scrawl is just smacking himself. He's just like, I couldn't 1v9 the game. He's just not. He just wasn't. He was put in
and
the
that's
position.
not your
wasn't
job as
quite able to
Volibear.
close it out.
Yeah, and that's not your job as Volibear. Like, your job as Volibear, I think that was a fantastic Volibear performance. I think one of the big things in that final team fight is that Sassy for Spaghetti used the Lux ultimate onto just Scabs. That's not a good Lux ultimate. You don't need to kill that Amumu, especially after the Amumu has already ulted. That's a useless Amumu. Maybe it's going to heal up a little bit, but you ain't doing anything.
Yeah,
You're
especially
just
once the Curse of the Sad Mummy comes out, it's just like
standing around. Maybe you'll get a decent bandage toss. But for the most part, you are just going to be wandering around bonking people on the head. And you don't need to use your Lux ultimate on that. You need to use your Lux ultimate on the squishy Chuki or the squishy Paco Parrot. Those are the champions who you need to kill to win these fights. And that just didn't work. And I didn't exactly see what happened on the back end of that fight. On the opposite end, the side opposite to where Kled and Scrawl and Chuki and those people were on the other side, where Paco Parrot killed both Sassy for Spaghetti and Dark Danzy. I'm not exactly sure how that went down, but that is an absolutely huge play and probably won the game by itself, because if those members had been able to join the rest of the fight, it probably would have gone very different. So definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was very interesting, because at the end of the day, like the Wukong was still like good enough to like help them in the team fights and be able to output that pressure, but like I don't know whether it's going to be, maybe it was just an execution and lane thing, or maybe they need to rethink that pick in the top lane. So I want to see what adaptations both sides really can kind of come away with, because it was a quite close game. I think both teams need to reevaluate what they were thinking about in this draft and really, maybe go for something a little bit different. And allow themselves a little bit more space in these later game team fights if it ends up going this late again. So what kind of, or maybe a shift in the top lane from NJCU, maybe something else, maybe a different AD carry for John Jay. What other maybe draft adaptations do you think could come out?
I honestly don't know. I still think both of the drafts for these teams were not bad. I didn't, as you mentioned, I didn't love the Wukong in the top lane, but I've seen Don't Miss Your Mark play the Wukong fairly well. I think a lot of it was early game. Overall, I'm lukewarm on the pick, and I think that even in the same matchup, it probably could have gone just fine. On the other end of things, I think that probably a different bot lane could have been selected by John Jay, but at the same time, Kaisa Lulu is a pretty good duo if you're able to make it work, and they had opportunities to make it work. There was definitely a setup for it, a fantastic setup, to be completely honest, and they were just never able to execute on it. So I think a lot of it will come down to execution. I expect some things to change in this game 2 draft, but I honestly don't think that either team really needs to reshape everything that they want to do, and probably just needs to look at execution a little bit more closely.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was thinking maybe like a little bit of a stronger late game AD carry that's a little bit less execution heavy. So I was thinking maybe going for more of a Jinx, or maybe going for I would say like a Jinx, or what else could fit that role? Maybe even a Senna or something like that. That kind of just allows you to just provides a little bit more without having to be quite as execution heavy as Kaisa, because Kaisa is just very hard to play into a lot of these team comps that have so much frontline, because she does not want to be just sitting there smacking away at a frontliner, especially with a lot of the nerfs and everything coming in. It's not as good, and so she really wants to really be able to get backline access, and it's going to get immediately stopped by something like a Cyclone or a Curse of the Sad Mummy. So but off the bat, we see John Jay banning away the Zillion.
Yeah, I don't think that's a terrible choice. It's obviously a very unusual pocket pick that NJCU has available, and was played incredibly well by level 1 Baby Slime. So I think it's not a bad idea to just take it off the board, look for something a little bit more conventional out of that bottom lane. I don't think NJCU changed up the bans at all. John Jay going for the Graves. Wow, that's different.
Graves at the bat might help out a lot, just because able to kind of have that early game pressure, as well as just be able to be a late game carry in a sense, with maybe like a heavier crit build and stuff like that. But on the other side, we see Zac coming out, a very similar champion to Amumu, in the same vein, kind of wants to farm a lot early and just have those big AoE CC frontline kind of pressure in the mid to late game. And Zac is always known for his very creative the gank setups and stuff like that because of his elastic slingshot. We see Brand probably support, I would imagine, but maybe in mid lane. But
I think it's support, which would be another aggressive support pick. I absolutely like that a lot. I think it worked really well in the last game for NJCU.
And you see the Xayah come out. I think this is another option of like a late game teamfight AD carry, a lot less execution heavy, because Xayah really likes it when people come into her, because she just ults, throws out all of her feathers, and she just recalls them all, and they're just like, take all of the damage when you run into me. So I think having something like that, especially against a Zac, able to just dodge the elastic slingshot pretty easily, is very valuable. But we see the Tristana on the other side, a very strong pick in the meta right now, can be flexed both mid lane or bot lane from NJCU. So I do want to see.
I think I expect to see it AD carry, but I'm not 100% sure.
And if it's Tristana Brand, that's an aggressive and like
really
very volatile bot lane, because like if Tristana is one of the hardest snowballing AD carries, because if she gets ahead even slightly, she just starts doing ridiculous amounts of damage, and she's a very strong state as a champion as a whole right now, so it can be very scary. And like, you don't have to put it into bot lane, because it might be able to punish a mid lane matchup as well, because Trist mid is also ridiculously strong. And you have the Brand, you have the Zac, which will do actually pretty big chunks of magic damage, so they might actually be able to kind of carry you through the mid to late game with that magic damage. So I want to see if they keep this flex pick open. I'm hoping they do, and maybe pick a top laner here, so they kind of keep where this Trist is going kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, and it looks like they're doing exactly that. Shen Zac is also a really good combo. Two incredibly tanky champions that can dive very well against champions like Xayah and Nami. It can be really useful for that. Let's see Urgot on the other end. Urgot's been kind of a spicy champion very recently.
Yeah, and like At the same time, Shen, you can never forget about his Stand United. Makes Shen's ult just makes me just permaban him because I always forget about it. I'm just like, I don't want to deal with another person whenever he wants to be on the map. So I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. So I just permaban him. But like in this case, he's gonna be really strong in the sense of you can just camp the bot lane now because you guys were already doing that with the other kind of team comp, and now you're just putting even more into that bot lane to kind of be more and more efficient. So from the other side, John Jay gonna close it out with Lux, kind of keep him on a very, I guess, comfort pick in the mid lane. And
worked well last game. Didn't win,
it worked pretty
but
well.
It did do a bunch of damage, got a bunch of nice burst damage, and worked fairly well. And then that's just being matched by the Syndra, which another very standard, comfortable mid lane pick, kind of like the Orianna.
Definitely a lot more kill pressure though. That unleashed power is quite deadly. So definitely one slow. Yeah, the outplay button. Just walk up, you click R on the enemy to carry, you make their lives happy. But definitely can do a lot, just as much as Orianna in some cases with that Scout of the Week, just throwing those Dark Spheres all over the place and stunning people. So team fights will still be just as spicy for NJCU, not quite as, big, meaty, team fight ultimates like the bullet time and the Cyclone, but opting for more of a global sense in the sense of having that Zac with that extremely far reach of engage as well as the Shen. And I don't think Shen into Urgot is that bad because like most of Urgot's damage is from auto attacks, so the Spirit's Refuge should be able to kind of help him out in a lot of those trades. But at the same time, Urgot is a ranged champion, and he is just created to bully tanks and melee champions in that top lane. So it definitely will be a little bit of a tough time for Don't Miss Your Mark if he misplays too much, because that Urgot just gets also very much a champion that can get out of hand very fast if not taken care of properly, because he snowballs really hard and has a very good laning phase, and that is something in this level of play can be very devastating for a lot of top laners. So I really want to keep our eyes on this top lane, see how trades go, and see what ends up happening, because if this Urgot does end up getting ahead, Urgot's a champion that can 1v9.
Yeah, although at the same time, it's not necessarily Don't Miss Your Mark's job to do a really good job into the Urgot. It's just to make sure the Urgot's not getting a crazy lead. And Shen can do a pretty good job at getting a okay amount of CS and not dying much. And then following that up by just being a great tank past 6, being able to teleport wherever, and always having that E available. Always able to sit on a side lane comfortably with Sunfire Cape, maybe, or either Sunfire Cape or the Iceborne Gauntlets, as well as potentially a Tiamat. Just everything that just lets you sit on that side lane and not die and push the wave and just make sure that no gigantic advantage is able to get created. So
honestly, I would prefer to see something like a chem tank from the Shen, because the mythic passive gives you the cooldown reduction, which Shen loves cooldown reduction. It makes it, because he runs off of energy, so he doesn't have to worry about mana, and he just loves cooldown reduction. It makes his Q a crap ton shorter, it makes Spirit Refuge shorter, it makes his taunt shorter, it makes that amazing ultimate, as I said before, even better. So like cooldown reduction is just something very valuable for Shen. So I think going for that chem tank is just so much more valuable for the most part, but can definitely the Sunfire Cape or the Sunfire Aegis can help a lot in the wave clear and the damage kind of 1v1 versus the Urgot situation. So definitely quite interesting. And looking at the bot lanes, very volatile.
Yeah, very volatile indeed. I mean, for John Jay, it's not incredibly so. They've got some good CC options and pretty good range as well. But on the other end, you got to make sure that you're just not getting blown up by Tristana Brand. That is an incredibly high damage, high kill pressure bottom lane. And that is just so scary to deal with.
Yeah, like I think definitely Brand Tristana, very difficult duo to kind of deal with. But I think Nami can also be fairly strong in lane because she has a heal, she has a shield, she has a pretty decent chunk of damage, and especially if one of those champions gets caught up by a bubble, they can get chain CC'd for a while with the Xayah feather collar and such. And Xayah, she doesn't do the most damage early, so it's not as potent as something like the Tristana, who has just ridiculous early game damage with that explosive charge. But Nami can definitely help in this matchup if she is able to stay away from Brand and hit her own skill shots. I feel like it's very much a skill matchup based on around those supports and who's hitting skill shots, who's hitting CC, and who's able to kind of win out on these trades. Because if it does end up going a little bit longer, Spitzen can do a lot more work because Nami has access to that heal with that ebb and flow. So it makes laning a little bit easier because you have that heal to kind of keep your AD carry and yourself topped up pretty consistently. But in the jungle, I do want to point out that Graves clears quite a lot faster than Zac does for the most part.
Yeah, I am interested. I'm a little surprised to see Flash Smite on the Graves rather than the Ignite Smite or something a little more aggressive like that. Usually I like to see that from these college junglers who are trying to break open a game. Even still, I like Graves a lot. I think the preseason item changes make him a very strong and versatile champion. And there are a lot more options in getting in on your opponents where you didn't necessarily have them before. So I think it'll be a lot on KP Cooper, who I believe is swapped in as NJCU's jungler, to match the tempo that the Graves is able to put out, because it's good tempo. That is a lot that Graves can do. And the ganks are not great, but the damage is absolutely there. So on the other end, as a Zac, you have to be providing really good, really creative ganks in order to get past the fact that you are going to be farming so much slower than the Graves, and your damage is just not going to be there ever.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is that while like Graves really I want to know what he ends up itemizing this game, because they're very two divergent, I guess, schools of thought for the most part when it comes to Graves, because a lot of people like the Gale Force heavy kind of crit build that could just burst squishies outright, or going for more of the fleet footwork, shield bow into kind of bloodthirster, just kind of like vamp tank type build. And both have their merits against this team, because you have the Zac, you have the Shen that you kind of, like constantly hit and not have to worry about taking too much damage from. But you also have that very potent backline of Syndra and Brand, which could burst you outright for the most part throughout the entire game. So it's definitely something that Graves has to keep in mind, because nerf after nerf, we've seen that the main thing that deals with Graves is things that deal a lot of magic damage, and NJCU has that in spades with a Brand and the unleashed power coming out from the Syndra, and as well as the Zac. You can't slouch on Zac's damage. Zac's damage early game is still pretty significant.
Yeah, it is pretty significant in the early game. I think I always prefer the Gale Force on Graves just because it is so multi-purpose. Altogether, I'm just a really big fan of the item on the champion, because it fills a lot of the holes that I felt like the champion had for such a long time, which were that you can just get kited really easily and your escapes can be a little lacking. Having a fairly short cooldown dash that goes along with your normal dash as well as your ultimate. You just have a ton of different options now and have actual ways to contribute to fights a lot more as the game moves forward. And if this game is anything like the last game, we might be in for another very long one. So
Yep, and especially even with that Gale Force build, like you can, tech very hard into very heavy crit. So like you're able to become a DPS monster when it comes into the late game. With just you should be able to like one shot the Syndra, the Brand if they misstep even slightly. So definitely can be a very potent champion even in the late game. You can't just because we were talking about like he clears a lot faster. He has early game pressure. He still will do damage throughout the entire game, and he does have the phase rush, so it does look like he's going to be going for that more bursty Gale Force type build. And we see pretty standard runes coming out from the rest of everyone. We do see 2 Dark Harvests, both from the Brand and the Lux, rather than the Electrocute from the Lux. So
yeah, that's
uh,
different than last game.
yeah, Electrocute scales not as good as Dark Harvest, obviously, because you stack it up over the course of the game, and might even be able to get some value in lane if you're trading pretty heavily. So maybe deciding to go for something a little bit different. And we do see a little bit of a switch up in the bot lane. We actually see Chuki on the Brand and level 1 Baby Slime on the Tristana.
Yeah, I didn't even see that one. That's a bit surprising for me. I haven't seen those two switch before, but I'm excited to see how it goes. I like the way that this bot lane plays in general and how they played the previous game, and I think that even with the switch up, they should still be a very aggressive, very fun to watch, very potentially a bot lane that can just break open the game. So I'll keep an eye on that one a bit.
Yep.
I guess.
Yeah, and starting items we see a Cole on the Urgot. I like it. You're not gonna get pressured too hard by the Shen early, especially because he took TP. So I think starting Cole, just gives you more value, allows you to scale and get to those later game items that make Urgot so strong now, especially with I think he got buffed last patch as well. So his on hit isn't quite as their on hit ratio on his W isn't quite as bad, so can be a lot easier. And as I said earlier, like Spitzen doesn't have too big of a problem level 1, trading with this Brand because he has the ebb and flow to deal damage and heal himself. But Tristana's damage definitely outdoes Zaya's damage early on completely, and we see the disdain coming out from top lane. Just gonna be even up that trade real fast, and there's gonna be very heavy trading coming out from this top lane. But we see the Tristana getting her W and jumping right in as soon as she can to get more damage onto Dark Danzy. So I like it.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do. Already burned away health pots. Just got to keep making that happen. In the mid lane, this is how Syndra matchups work. Syndra uses all of her mana, and the opponent is sad for a while until the mana's gone. It's a lot of damage.
Ooh, beautiful stuff from Spitzen, landing the bubble and just taking it down Chuki, but Dark Dancy looking very low himself, and Cledden Scrawl. Ooh, beautiful, able to buffer the disdain, but the Spirit's Refuge gonna take up so much damage. NYC gonna have double buffs, but is just gonna get walked down by these 2 tanks. Gets the phase rush proc, gonna be able to walk over the wall. Gonna have to use his flash though over the wall as well. Sassy Spaghetti was gonna try to help out his top side, but it's just getting caught out by the Syndra. Beautiful stuff from Paco to make sure that Lux is not able to get to that fight before him, and just stall him out, get a free kill basically, and gonna keep his pressure going. And yeah.
Yeah, that was a really long play in the top lane. Ended up with 1 kill from 2 members who weren't even at the play at the start. I A lot was burned there. I think that the way that Kled Scrawl was able to recall and then come back was good and got a lot of pressure, but once Don't Miss Your Mark is able to back and has the uh, ultimate advantage, the Stand United advantage, it could be difficult to match up in that lane with how long the early teleport cooldown is.
Yeah, and Extruki just burning the ignite to make sure Dark Danzy just cannot walk up, and will just get chunked out if anything happens. And the heal and the flash we see burnt for Dark Danzy, but it is not enough to keep him alive, and just able to make it out. And level 1 Baby Slime coming away with a nice and early kill for himself in this lane. The Disdain gonna hit the Shen, but again, as I said, that Spirit's Refuge make his life nice and easy and not take too much damage from these trades. But we got the Graves in the bot lane, just gonna punish this lane for pushing up so much. Level 1 Baby Slime gonna end up going down. Chuki, quite low himself, but able to get lots of damage down. NYC, is he gonna be able to make this out? Great stuff in the end. Even with Spitzen having no mana, able to close out the kill. So
And
2 kills over the Graves.
Yeah, 2 kills over the Graves, which is huge, and already 0 and 2 for Chuki on that brand. Not exactly how you wanted to start this game. Still going to exert a lot of pressure. It's not like the gold has necessarily gone onto extremely important targets. That only ended up in 1 assist for Dark Danzy, but even still, it's a little concerning. Brand is dying so much in the early game.
Yeah, and this is the kind of the flip side of something like a mage support, because while it is super strong, does a lot of damage, it is quite squishy, and that is very squishy. Dark Dancy, not much HP to work with. Level 1 Baby Slime just, exerting all of his pressure onto this lane with this early game Tristana with the Hail of Blades, just saying, no, you can't even walk up that far. And Kled Scrawl hitting level 6, so definitely having access to the Fear Beyond Death. So now just is very, very strong, and it's you just cannot take too heavy of trades now against this Urgot, because the Fear Beyond Death will just execute you outright. But Sassy for Spaghetti might just get executed by Paco Parrot. Beautiful stuff. Gonna find the Dark Sphere to end it all after the Unleashed Power. Just gonna push in this wave and continue his lane kingdom in the mid lane.
Yeah, and a great gank from KP Cooper there. I really liked the pathing there that ended up in a weird Zed, or not Zed, a weird Zac gank. That's just how you need to gank as Zac. You need to approach from a weird angle and just fly in, and worked perfectly there. So just altogether worked really well, and the ultimate coming through before Sassy for Spaghetti even had the ultimate there. That's another death.
Chuki ended up going down, but Dark Danzy able to live through the explosive charge. Level 1 Baby Slime not going to be able to find a kill there. And now Kled Scrawl in a little bit of a situation with Don't Miss Your Mark, but he does have the Disdain as well as the Fear Beyond Death. Will he be able to finish it off? Level 1 Baby Slime actually with the heal able to take Dark Danzy down, but at the end of it all is going to sacrifice his life from Spitzen's Ignite, and Kled Scrawl able to get one for himself off that gank, but he's gonna end up going down. The Disdain gonna hit, and the Stand United coming in clutch, and Kled Scrawl getting a little bit too greedy after getting the 1 kill for himself, and gonna end up going down at the end of it all to Don't Miss Your Mark.
Yeah, and well, it feels like some things are going a bit better for John Jay this time than last game. It really doesn't feel like they have a specific point to break open the game this time. Their Graves hasn't really done a whole lot. Despite getting 2 kills, just hasn't opened anything up new. A lot of the gold difference right now, actually.
But NYC in the bot lane is looking for a gank onto level 1 Baby Slime. Chuki's gonna be way far up in this lane as well. The TP gonna end up coming out from Don't Miss Your Mark because he still has it. And level 1 Baby Slime gonna clean up the kill and might be looking for more, but not gonna find a reset. Dark Dancy gonna use the Feather Collar to get out, but Paco with the Dark Sphere able to get one, and the Unleash Power with the second. But he is on the wrong side of the map now. Is he gonna be able to try to find some way to outplay Sassy 4 Spaghetti? Paco, ooh, dodges the light binding, gets the stun with the Scout of the Week, and Don't Miss Your Mark is gonna end up taking it. Ooh, not quite. It looks like a Corrupting Potion Mark, but NYC is gonna get back in with this Phase Rush and try to walk down this Shen, but the Spirit's Refuge gonna keep him alive for a little bit longer. The collateral damage not quite gonna do enough damage. Whew! Gonna make it out limping with just a tiny bit of HP. And the real victor of all of that was Paco.
Yeah, that was an enormous extended fight. Paco Parrot's going to be gigantic moving forward in this game. I got really confused there because KP Cooper has not backed this entire time. It had an empty inventory, but now able to back and get some nice early items. And overall, I mean, Chuki is still a bit behind, but there's one member of your team who you do not mind being that far behind. It's your support. You don't need your support to be providing all that much. When your Syndra is huge and your tanks are reasonably well fed and your ADC has a couple of kills, you are in a completely fine spot no matter how your support is doing. And when the other support's picking up all the kills anyway, who even cares?
Yep, definitely. And NYC trying his hardest to be able to try to get something out of that, but level 1 Baby Slime gonna go in with double buffs. Oh, just gonna get caught out of the rocket jump with the bubble, and Chuki gonna get left out to drive. The Fear Beyond Death is gonna land, is gonna get a double kill for Kled and Skrull. Beautiful stuff from him, able to find that and punish that bot lane for being over aggressive. As we said, like, it's a very volatile and strong early game lane, but beautiful stuff from Kled and Skrull and NYC to be consistently punish this lane for just being so far ahead. I don't know what KP Cooper's doing underneath this turret, trying to get the kill with the Demolish, but that's a low HP turret that you're not going to be able to kill because it still has platings on it, and that's the Cell Division passive gonna just go the way of Sassy for Spaghetti. I had a little bit of a got a little scary for a second. Almost made it out because he got back out of the Cell Division, but not quite gonna find too much. And now Kled and Skrull has double buffs and a full Titanic Hydra.
Yeah,
so,
this game's starting to get a little it's been a little messy and iffy for a while now. It's getting even more messy and iffy at this point. There are a lot of reasonably strong champions wandering the map, and I am honestly not sure which ones are going to be providing the most for their team moving forward.
Spits in, walks up too far, gets burst down by Chuki. He might be behind, but he still does damage, but the damage is still going to come through. NYC gonna take down Chuki, but gonna get taken down on the backside by level 1 Baby Slime. And will they be able to find the kill onto Dark Dancy? The Feather Collar is going to get the root, but the Elastic Slingshot is going to knock him up. And another kill going over to level 1 Baby Slime. Kled and Skrull trying his best to try to get a kill, maybe even in this top lane by himself. But Paco Parrot was in the bot lane as well.
Probably keeping an eye on the taunt cooldown, which is why. Yeah, but even still, gotta be scared of that one.
Yep, and Sassy for Spaghetti looking for something in the bot lane. Looked like he had to end up burning both of his summoners as well at some point during that exchange. So definitely very scary. I think Paco ended up finding him somewhere after that fight and burning his sums. So, but yeah, like we said, you know, X-Chuki definitely a little bit behind, but still able to just burst out a very squishy Nami. Nami is not a tanky champion, does not build any resistance, does not much health at all. So, like, you still can't walk up into this brand and be like, ha ha, I'm 2 levels up on you. Brand's just going to be like, I don't care, I'm still going to use my full combo, and you're going to be at 20% HP, and my AD carry can just clean you up. So, like, he's pretty happy to kind of deal with it on his own, but it is a little bit spooky now that NYC's down here. He ends up backing off really far back. Make sure he doesn't get punished for being too far up. But the Zac Elastic Slingshot going to come back in. Chuki going to get chunked by the bubble this time. The Root Caller going to come out. Chuki!
Yeah, that was the problem with that. KP Cooper wanted to find a kill, but KP Cooper doesn't have damage. Chuki's the one with damage, and Chuki just wasn't able to get there because a ton of damage.
Oh, NYC's looking for it. The Cloud damage is going to end up taking it out. Not the final spark, but Sassy for Spaghetti overextends for that final spark, and Paco is going to end up taking him out with the Unleashed Power. And NYC, don't think you quite want to take that fight. They're just going to go their separate ways because even if, you know, Cinder doesn't have the Unleashed Power, that's still a lot of damage, and I don't think you want to deal with that as Graves, so a little spooky, but Cladden Scrawl able to kind of just keep pushing this lane in, able to finish his call off, 3-1 with a full Titanic Hydra at this point, needs to back and really spend a lot of his gold, and I want to see a lot of magic resist come out from this Urgot, because it is just so valuable against the main 3 targets that he's going to be going against. He's going to be going against the Shen and the Zac as well as Paco for the most part, if they end up trying to move Paco over. So just a lot of magic resist is going to help out against all 3 of those matchups. But level 1 Baby Slime going to go in with the Gale Force and the Explosive Charge, but not going to have enough damage. Beautiful stuff from Spitzen, going to take him out, but Chuki might not be able to get enough damage and isn't able to get enough damage with the passive, even with everything said and done. That Moonstone Renewer, as well as all of that healing from the Nami, end up doing some work, but the Fear Beyond Death is gonna snipe him from across the board. Cladden Scrawl gonna get another kill in his pocket, and Paco Parrot's on the wrong side of the map, so ooh,
coming out. Got it.
Get a TP out.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, this game's gotten real messy real fast. I think in the entirety of that 40-minute game last time, we had like or double these kills, I think, so we're on a bit faster pace. Regardless of that, it is just a complete mess. So again, there are a lot of strong champions across the map. There are a lot of champions with a lot of damage in this game. And even though Chuki is 1-7, still pumps out plenty of damage. So it'll just be a case of, I think, when we get towards... I think as we move towards more dragons taken and where Baron is a real concern, we'll actually have more consequential fights that are not bad.
Cladden Scrawl gonna TP in and just take down level 1 Baby Slime for overextending for that turret. It looks so low, but you can't go for it. You just gotta respect it.
That's
and
so
Cladden Scrawl, you know, working towards the mythic item, looks to be going for the Stride Breaker, gonna keep himself from getting guided too hard in a lot of these team fights, and it just adds another dash on top of this disdain that he already has. Gonna get knocked back by the Scout of the Week, and he can't do too much after that unless he buffers the disdain over it, but the Blast Cone might be able to get him over the wall onto Paco Parrot. The disdain gonna come out, and the Fear Beyond Death gonna get wasted as well, buffered with that disdain, so not too much gonna end up getting done. But NYC gonna get smacked with the Unleashed Power, gonna dodge the damage from the brand, so great stuff overall.
Yeah, I believe Paco Parrot has gone for the Magi's Soul Steep, which I like that decision a lot, actually.
Ooh.
That's no problem.
Level 1 Baby Slime, not quite gonna go down. 1 HP, no. The final spark gonna be able to close it out. Great stuff. But spits in, oh, the massive elastic slingshot. But the Feather Collar gonna end up getting used, and just KP Cooper not able to deal any damage. He's a Zac. He's not anyone else. He's not, you know, he didn't have any follow-up damage. Great stuff from Cladden Scrawl to kind of zone away really the damage dealers, Chuki and Paco Parrot getting distracted by him. So no follow-up damage coming out from that massive Zac engage. So
yeah, and it feels like Don J really is taking control of this game a bit. Already has the 4K gold lead, or around 3.5, 4K gold lead. Definitely finding a lot of advantages in this one. It's just a case of can they close this one out? Last game, it was such a problem for them getting to those turrets, getting the turrets down, actually winning the game. And this time as well, we will have to see how well NJC can just hold on for a while, get this team comp scaling a bit. They have the late game Tristana. They have a very fed Syndra. The Syndra can find any picks. That's huge. The Medjais will be really important. I was going to say about the Medjais earlier that I really like it in this case because the big thing about Medjais is that if you use it... Oh, this could be another kill.
NYC just gonna walk him down with the phase rush. Has more than enough damage to take out a squishy member like Rand. As you said earlier, eSports, double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when you really don't have a lot else other than your damage. Chuki really brings damage, brings a little bit of CC, but it's a lot that damage, and if you're just dying repeatedly, you can't even put out anything else. So
yeah, and you're not an engaged support able to walk off. The disdain gonna get hit KP Cooper, and are they gonna be able to find anything? The Conqueror is gonna get stacked, but the Fear Beyond Death isn't quite gonna go off. So level 1 Baby Slime able to come in and take that massive shutdown for himself.
Yep, and that is very big for level 1 Baby Slime. He just... Oh, there he is. Oh, wait for it.
Yeah, slowly. Yeah,
okay.
There he goes. Okay.
They were waiting on the ultimate. I don't know if they realized it wasn't all that.
Oh, and another one. And, okay, NYC trying to go in. And one, oh, level 1 Baby Slime knocked him away with the Buster shot and tried to follow up, but just gets punished for the collateral damage. And now NYC is just has a Nami as back and is just not dying. KP Cooper gonna try to go in, but is gonna end up going down. Looking for more, he just does so much damage. Still able to keep it going. Paco might be able to the one to shut him down with the Scout of the Week and the Unleashed Power, but not quite enough damage. Just even with all of this, just all this healing coming out from this Nami, having the Moonstone and the Staff of Flowing Water complete, this Graves is just not dying.
This is why you gotta be afraid of those enchanters. This is what they bring when you're not just a brand with a bunch of damage. I mean, Spritzen is also incredibly fed for a support at this point. 4-2 and 14 is absolutely ridiculous. But in general has just provided so much heat. Been enormous for these fights. Level 1 Baby Slime really has to be the stepping up here because none of the burst damage is going to get through because it's all going to get healed off.
Oh, level 1 Baby Slime coming in, as you said, with the Gale Force and the Explosive Charge, but not quite enough damage to finish it off. Just so low every time. But, you know, at least he's putting the pressure on, trying to keep it going, and but not quite able to find the kill. But I just see from, like, I think level 1 Baby Slime really has to step it up because not only, you know, is like his team is very MR or like magic damage heavy, and we see double Hex Drinkers coming out from both of the 80 carries on John Jay's side already. So this Syndra needs to get a Void Staff in her pocket as soon as possible. She just finished her Seraph's Embrace. I need to see a Void Staff next because otherwise your damage is going to start falling off very fast, very soon. And we got already a Collector on NYC just ready like to just burst out all these squishies. He is 9-2-3. You cannot slack on this Graves. He will do immense amounts of damage to any of these squishies if he gets close to them.
Yeah, that's a very scary Graves. You've got to be afraid of that. Especially, I mean, if you are some Paco Parrot on the Syndra, you're able to do a decent amount of damage to him, but he's going to kill you.
Yeah, and with that Hex Drinker tech, he is able to live for even longer against a lot of this magic damage. KP Cooper gonna try to go in, spits in, does get CC'd, but he's able to CC level 1 Baby Slime back, and the Disdain over the wall. Beautiful stuff, and the Fear Beyond Death gonna take him down, and the big shutdown going to Kled and Skrull, and Chuki gonna get walked down nice and slowly by this Urgot as well. Triple kill in the end of it all for Kled and Skrull. And we saw him on Volibear last game, not quite able to 1v9, but Urgot, as I said in Champ Select, is a champ that can 1v9 when he needs to. So he is coming out full force and able to really strut his stuff in this game.
Yeah, that was real big damage there, and a big hit to NJCU was Paco Parrot dying, losing those Magi stacks. That really had to be the path back into the game for them. Now, from a pretty big deficit, it's got to be... It still has to be Paco Parrot with the Magi stacks, but it's going to be a lot more difficult.
Level 1 Baby Slime looking for something. Oh, having to use the heal and the Standard United coming out. That's a little bit of a panic ultimate, but it's fine. It's fine. Didn't want to use the Summoner spell, but great stuff overall. Level 1 Baby Slime looking like he's going to be going for a GA. Makes sense. Going to be able to jump in whenever he wants and not into too hard with the stopwatch for now, and maybe the Guardian Angel later. But I don't know about this from KP Cooper. Going to be going in trying to fight Kled and Skrull, but the Fear Beyond Death is going to end up missing. And Kled and Skrull just doesn't take much damage from anyone on NJCU's team right now, because he has a Force of Nature, and that light banding hits. Level 1 Baby Slime's gonna end up going down, and the Tidal Wave's gonna come out as well, and they are stuck at a choke point. Paco Parrot's gonna end up going down. NYC's just gonna walk down Chuki as well, and same with KP Cooper, and that is a triple kill for NYC. Great stuff from him, and that's gonna be a Baron.
Yeah, I get the feeling that we're moving towards a game number 3 here. John Jay is really taking not seeing anything from NJ. Quite a few minutes that's shown me that they have any idea what they're doing right now.
It's really tough, because like you really have to be able to kite out this Urgot. You have to be able to kite out this just this whole team, because this team really likes you jumping into them. So the onus is on NJCU to get good vision control, good positioning advantage, and if they're able to kind of set their ground and then walk backwards while John Jay walk into them, they're going to be able to do a lot more damage and be a lot more efficient in these team fights. Because if they're walking into Brand damage, Syndra damage, it's going to be tough for them to do anything. And Xayah does not like walking into you. She likes people walking into her. So when she's forced to walk in and she gets hit by even a small CC, she just gets evaporated. So
yeah, the problem now is that they just don't have the positioning advantage. They shouldn't have the positioning advantage for the rest of the game. This Infernal Soul is coming up in just under 2 minutes, and that'll probably be one of the big defining points of this game, is that if John Jay picks that up, that's even more damage for them. They already have more than enough damage, but an extra big chunk of AoE CC. That was a lot of damage.
Sassy for Spaghetti, just gonna use full combo onto level 1 Baby Slime, but Dark, gonna walk up, but it's still gonna be fine with the Featherstorm and gonna guide back. Don't miss your mark, is just gonna get destroyed by all the damage Dark Danzy has, and with a Nami behind her, she is fearless. Xayah is doing so much damage, and NYC and Kled and Skrull, the Fear Beyond Death, and there's another one with the collateral damage, but the Unleash Power not quite going to do enough, and that is going to be the end of the game for John Jay, cleaning it up in the second game, putting Kled and Skrull on a definitely a stronger carry champ, and they're able to really close it out through his leads.
Yeah, and on top of that, just the switch up to put in NYC at jungle and putting them on the Graves, such a powerful pick. Those things combining together to be such a huge advantage for John Jay. It it worked. I would say part of it as well is that you just can't feed early game like that in the bottom lane when you have such an aggressive bottom lane, because John Jay showed why you pick mid to late game champions, why you pick enchanters, why you pick the slower paced Zaya. If your Tristana gets behind early, I mean, the Tristana wasn't even that far behind. It just would not stop jumping in 24/7. Level 1 Baby Slime just had to go in, and incredibly far behind the entire game. I think ended with 12 or 13 deaths. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it was just really troublesome because like it was an enchanter support. It wasn't a tank support. It was something that can still kind of deal with that early aggression from Brand. As I said, like Nami has that trading potential with that ebb and flow, so it allows a lot more leniency, really. And so with being able to do that initially, kind of stifling that initial aggression coming out from that bot lane, then NYC and Cleanse Scrawl able to kind of go consistently to the bot lane and punish them for constantly pushing up, really just getting more and more kills under their belt. Like it was just a lot easier for them, and as well as just the heavy lean towards magic damage that NJCU's team had, it was really easy once they were ahead for John Jay to be like, oh, they basically all do magic damage. If we kill the Tristana first, we don't have to worry about it, and we just stack MR. And so
but I think that
that's
also
basically what they did.
Yeah, I think that also has to focus on level 1 Baby Slime's execution of Tristana, because it was pretty poor. They never really had to worry about Baby Slime as a damage threat, because it just kept running to their death. Like, it was not a great performance up into this Zaya Nami lane, which did have so many answers to the Brand and the Tristana, and just were never really dying, never really in danger of death. So,
yeah,
I guess
like,
we're moving towards
just
game number 3.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have a game number 3, and again, we have to go back to drafts and kind of see. The Zac, as it was pretty strong, like it had good engages, it just wasn't quite as strong as the Amumu. But I think at the end of the day, I think it might have to be the difference between Syndra and Orianna. Because while Syndra did have, the stronger, or a little bit of a stronger laning phase, able for that single target execution, didn't have that same team fight presence as the Orianna. Because Orianna's Shockwave will hit 3 to 4 people, especially the way that Paco was playing her. So like, the Syndra was only able to kind of burst out one target, and maybe even not even burst out that one person, because he ended up going for that Medjai's instead of a early Void Staff to make sure that he kept doing damage. And so like after those double Hex Drinkers and that Force of Nature came in, he just stopped doing damage. And like by the time he was able to get a Void Staff, it was just too late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, John Jay did a good job at making sure that Paco Parrot was never really able to expand that lead much more, wasn't able to find a bunch of really big one-shots. And that's the thing about Syndra, is that sometimes you don't find those kinds of one-shots, and sometimes the one-shots are harder to get over the course of the game. Like Graves one-shots, you throw in a couple of abilities, that's a bit more complicated of a one-shot that actually is easier to make happen as the game goes on, and you have crit, which scales really well. However, on the other hand, something like a Syndra, you don't really have that kind of later game scaling. You can just keep stacking AP, but the answers against you become so much stronger, and it becomes a lot more difficult to make anything happen.
Yeah, like Void Staff just isn't as efficient of an item as something like Lord Dominate's Regard. So like it's become easier and easier to kind of, like, you can have multiple AD threats and have all of them build Lord Dominic's Regards, and you don't feel as bad. But having so many AP threats and not having, like, Void Staff not being quite as strong as that item, just doesn't feel quite as good, especially with the changes to Leandries as well, with not giving that percentage magic resistance pen. can definitely be quite difficult. So I do want to see maybe a switch back to Orianna, or maybe even maybe we switch back for level 1 baby slime going into the support position.
Yeah, that's the big thing I'd like to say.
Yeah, and so we see again the Trundle ban. Now we see a Graves ban to make sure that maybe NYC isn't able to kind of dominate as hard as he was able to last game.
Yeah, that was a really huge pick in the previous game. I think above everything else, that's what needs to be taken off the board. And John Jay showed that they were willing to first pick it. I don't think that NJCU wants to first pick it. It really doesn't fit their jungle philosophy. So just ban it, get it off the board, don't deal with it. Nami, I don't mind as well. I think that you could probably just outplay it, to be completely honest. I think a lot of the problems were caused by feeding the Nami really heavily early on. A lot of answers to it. But it's not a terrible ban.
It is a strong laning champion, so again, like in the skill area we are playing at, the stronger a champion is in lane, it does become a lot more difficult for a lot of people to deal with. And so Nami just has a lot of tools and can kind of get herself and her AD carry a lead a lot easier than a lot of other champions. So makes sense just to keep it away from how strong it was last game. So, but I want to see what ends up getting picked first. And so Yorick right off the bat.
That's an interesting first pick. I guess they just saw what happened to Mr. Mark in 2 consecutive games and said, we have to figure out something that is just going to work. And maybe this is their choice. Maybe Yorick is how they are planning to win this game. I've seen the Don't Miss Your Mark Yorick before. It wasn't a incredible pick, but it definitely did its job. Xayah Irelia is an interesting duo there.
Xayah, again, makes sense going towards a similar to carry, a little bit later scaling, wants the enemy team walking into you. I like it. Seemed a little bit more comfortable on it as well from John Jay's side. And the Irelia as well, I think, is a quite strong pick, honestly, into the Yorick, because her Blade Surge can kind of reset off the little Yorick cools and allow a little bit more stability in that lane, while Irelia usually wouldn't do the best in most lanes. And on the other side, we see the Annie come out. Annie, quite a strong champion, because she just has an AoE stun whenever she wants it that's unreactable. So if she's able to make it through laning phase and get to that 1 or 2 item point, she can really mess up some team fights and be that kind of just go button that your team might need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a lot that Annie can provide. It's just kind of an interesting 3 champions they've picked up so far. Not a fantastic synergy or anything, but I think these are just the champions they want to play. The Nico was left open, though. So John Jay does finally get their hands on that Nico that is such a favored pick by Sassy for Spaghetti in the mid lane, who has just been playing that Lux the past 2 games, which credit where credit's due. The Lux play has been pretty good. It hasn't really been a huge game changer either time so far, but it has been pretty solid regardless.
Yeah, it hasn't done the best in lane, but out of lane it has done its job for the most part. So definitely great stuff from them. I do want to see what NJCU ends up banning, looking to ban supports and junglers, seeming that those are the last 2 things not picked yet. The Viego ban going to come out. A little bit interesting, a little bit hard to play into such a heavy team comp, but maybe just respecting it and not wanting to kind of leave open such a strong hyper carry, as well as the Tristana and the Jinx ban, really pinching the AD carry pool for NJCU. But we still do have, I think, the MF that we've seen already that could come out, and honestly might not be pretty bad with this team comp.
Mm-hmm. We will have to see where NJCU wants to go. Jinx banned away, the Tristana banned away. It's fairly likely that we need to see a bottom lane left for NJCU. For John Jay, probably a support and a jungler. Kind of weird champions to still need to be available, and that's interesting. I don't hate Nico. I just don't necessarily know that it provides a ton.
Yeah, Yumi is
Yumi, yeah.
She provides a lot of single target healing, and a little bit of engage, but she's not the best with someone like a Zaya who already kind of peels for herself.
Yeah, when I look at Yumi, I really want to see a champion that she can pocket and just be really good and make incredibly strong and kind of be a self-sufficient, ridiculously good duo. And I just don't see that anywhere here. Maybe the Irelia, but it feels like Irelia moves around too much to make Yumi provide very much. And in lane, it shouldn't do a whole lot. That's an odd lane choice, but it's a bit better this time, I guess, because there's no Nami CC to get in the way.
And Brand only has to hit one skill shot on one champ now, so it makes his life a lot easier. And we see the Lilia coming out for the jungle at the end of it all. Really great stuff. I like the Lilia here a lot, actually, because just Lilia's an extremely strong jungler in the meta currently, with the lilting lullaby, as well as just the amount, or the sheer speed of her clear, to be completely honest, is just unmatched by like most junglers. She can out clear, she's at the very top when it comes to clear speed. So definitely a great stuff, and it is going to be NYC piloting that, and it looks like level 1 baby slime is going to be piloting the brand this time.
I guess my problem here for John Jay's team position previous games, part of what brought them success before was that Urgot was very tanky, and Graves by himself is a bit tankier than meets the eye. And even in game 1, Volibear was an incredibly enormous tank that allowed for the rest of the team to really do a whole lot. Now you're playing up against a Draven with no tanks. That's a kind of scary prospect. You have options to stop the Draven, but
it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there's also CC removal Draven can buy, or have a cleanse, either a cleanse or a QSS, anything like that. And if those things are available, then Draven just kind of runs you over if he gets especially far ahead. That's a pretty scary prospect. This game could be a lot more aggressive than the previous two, and a lot faster paced in the early game. Faster paced throughout, to be honest, just because these champions do kind of lend themselves to that. I'm just kind of weirdly thinking about how Warwick and Annie are some of those champions. It's very strange to see them both in one game, to be completely honest, but it's obviously something that NJCU has a decent amount of experience on. John Jay has banned it previously, and they opted for it pretty early on in this draft.
Yeah, like, I kind of understand. Oh, it looks like Chuki's actually going to be taking the brand as well this time, so level 1 baby slime going to be on the Draven. But like, I kind of understand, because Clinton Scrawl has kind of been has just done a lot of work on whatever champion he's been playing, as well as NYC, whatever we saw out of him last game. So I kind of understand putting both of them on kind of champions that can dictate the pace of the game, with that Aurelia, with that Lilia, and being able to kind of really push their boundaries and be able to be like, Aurelia is someone who, when ahead, can just be that carry and do what she needs to do, especially with a Yumi pocketing her. And then same thing with Lilia, where is going to be a little bit more supportive in this sense, because you're going to be wanting to kind of provide CC, provide more damage for the Aurelia to kind of just dance in and out. And while we say, if the Draven gets ahead, the Aurelia is going to be no tank is going to be a problem. But if this Aurelia gets ahead, this Draven's going to have a problem with this Aurelia, because Aurelia, if she lands her stun or if she lands her ult, that Draven will just outright die.
Yeah, and that is one of the big things, is that in both of these previous games, Kled and Skrull has gotten really far ahead. In both of these games, it was huge matchup mismatch. This time, don't miss your mark. Both of these players, both on new champions again. They've played 3 unique champions this series. Maybe this is the time that Don't Miss Your Mark finally finds the matchup. If not a winning matchup, just a non-losing matchup. Something where you don't let your opponent get really far ahead this time. I have my doubts. I have my unsureness, I guess, but regardless, this series has gone a lot closer than I had expected.
All right, and we're just gonna throw it to a quick break while we're loading into game, waiting for the spectator delay. Good one. Seeing what we've seen from the first 2 games, it's gonna be a close one.
Yeah, this has been a very close series so far. Both of these games. Game 1 was incredibly close, incredibly long. Game 2, still, it was a lot faster and a lot earlier decided, but it still felt like it balanced on a knife's edge for which team was going to just run over the other one. And this one feels a little bit the same way. I feel like this game will be decided fairly early, but could very easily go either way. And again,
Yeah.
I think a big place to look will be the bot lane.
Yeah, I definitely think, looking at the bot lane it'll definitely be interesting looking at this Draven from the side of NJCU. But on the other side from John Jay, I think we need to really look at this top lane and this Aurelia with Glenn Scrawl because, game after game, we've seen him be able to get leads by himself and be able to kind of carry a lot of these games and team fights. So I really want to see what he can get going on this Aurelia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the top lane will also be important. I don't know that the actual lane itself is going to be important. In the previous game, Kled and Skrull didn't actually get ahead in lane. It was mostly outside of lane, TPs, roams, just having that long ultimate range on the Urgot all contributed a lot more than anything up into that matchup with Don't Miss Your Mark, but we'll see where these two decide to go this time.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it will be. I want to see how this top lane matchup ends up going. Right off the bat, we see lots of trading coming out. We see the Ionian Fervor stacked up from the Aurelia, and just that's the main thing that allows Aurelia to do so much damage in these early game trades. Once she gets 4 stacks, she just does immense amounts of damage, and you do not want to touch her when you're at level 1, especially with, you don't have any ghouls up yet.
Nothing else to do. Ooh.
Oh, the stun coming out, and that should be a dead Don't Miss Your Mark. Kled and Skrull off the bat. Now respecting the Aurelia early. The Aurelia able to hit level 2 off the bat, and looks like something similar might have happened in the bot lane, but not quite enough. Dark Danzy with the heal, able to get away. And this Yuumi, able to restore most of the Xayah's HP, so it's not too terrible. Able to just keep CSing, and this is kind of expected early game for this Draven and Brand lane.
Yep, but they really have to find something this time. They really have to make kills happen. They have to get those gold cash-ins, even more than last time. They really have to make this lane work out. And so far, John Day has done a pretty good job at avoiding taking too much damage. They've lost a lot of CS. They've avoided dying, which is the big thing, and actually picked up a decent amount of the CS on the back end.
Yeah, they're not too far behind, and Sassy for Spaghetti coming out with the heal in the mid lane this time. Kind of early on dealing with Paco Parrot's fighting style pretty well so far, but Kled and Skrull off the bat, getting back in the lane, just chunking Don't Miss Your Mark out, and just not letting him have fun.
Yeah, already a Vampire Acceptor actually on Kled and Skrull. This is an awful matchup for Don't Miss Your Mark so far.
Yep, and NYC gonna walk in, is a level up as well, so can definitely bully really hard on this Aurelia. KP Cooper gonna have to flash over, and that's gonna be it for the Warwick early on. Sassy for Spaghetti is quite low, but Paco Parrot just came back from base, used his TP, and is already chunked out to 30% HP. Is going to have to pop his pots from his refillable.
Yeah, and NJCU seems a little lost right now. It feels like they picked their champions without really knowing what they wanted to do with them, just kind of expecting, we know how to play these champions, they're going to go really well for us. But now they're behind kills in top lane and jungle, two of the spots where you really don't want to be behind at this point in the game. Don't Miss Your Mark is falling really far behind in the early game, and it's not that far into the game. It's really not that dire. I don't think that this early game means a ton in the grand scheme of things, but it feels really bad after seeing how those previous games went, needing to come back in game number 1 and losing so quickly in game number 2. They have to find something just to get the confidence back, if nothing else.
And the thing is that this lead in the top lane has just been by himself. They're looking for something, but KP Cooper, I don't think he's going to find too much because they're already under their tower. And again, we said, maybe the Yumi's not the best thing, but it's keeping Dark Danzy alive in this lane and really keeping level 1 Baby Slime from cashing out his adoration stacks, and that's really all you have to do against Draven, because he's such a feast or famine champion that if you are able to kind of initially make sure that he's not able to do anything, he just is not an effective champion. And the Vanguard's edge might miss, but Don't Miss Your Mark is still going to go down from Clouded Scrawl. But on the opposite side of the map, great stuff from NJCU. Going to get Dragon right as it spawns with this bot lane pressure. This is something that I really like, because while they do have a very early game team, and early game teams, what they need to do is stack dragons. That is something that they can kind of enable in having having that kind of early game bot lane pressure. You're able to unlock yourself to having a Dragon Soul win condition, and that seems what they're going to be working towards.
Yeah, and the bottom side is under control for now. It's just a question of how long are they going to have been down here. They got to make a kill happen. They have to cash out the adoration stacks. I think that is going to be the big thing here. Going to be the big thing here is they just need more gold. This could be it. I've said that before. And again, do it. And it's not even burning summoner spell cooldowns.
Oh, but getting the flash out and beautiful spinning axe to cancel to finish out the kill. But wait. Oh, NYC's gonna end up going down as well. This Draven is still alive. Spitzin, is gonna try and do his best with the Yuumi, able to get it out with an auto attack from this cat, but
yeah, and as
that should never happen. That should be a clean kill after that flash onto level 1 Baby Slime, but he's able to get a second. Really great stuff, but again, he's gonna be ahead in this lane, but it's an 11 CS lead. It's as we said, it's a cash out on the adoration stacks, but it's still early in the game where there are only so many adoration stacks. He doesn't have 300 adoration stacks yet, already stacked up and ready to go, but he definitely is still ahead. He needs to still be able to push this lead. Now that he's coming back, he has a call and boots and a longsword above his opponent. This is when this Draven needs to just snowball his lead. He got the initial little push. This is when he needs to just keep it rolling. Otherwise, if we see on the other side of the map, this is almost 50 CS lead for Clouded Scrawl. So it's going to be a little bit tough. But Dark Danzy, as I said, you got to respect the Draven. He comes back with more items than you, and he's able to get that snowball going. There's another kill going into his pocket. Dark Danzy going down again.
Yeah, and that'll end up in a CS disadvantage as well. Dark Danzy is just going to keep falling further and further behind in this lane. this is what NJCU needed to come back in this one, and it was a kind of unforced error. John Jay didn't really need to go for a big gank on the bottom lane. Their bottom lane was in trouble, but it's not like they were in so much trouble that they needed to engage in order to make a play happen. Still, it really does feel like the opposite sides of the map are what matter here. Don't Miss Your Mark is bleeding out CS, has 20 at this point, versus the nearly 90 of Kled and Scrawl, while on the bottom side of the map, that's nearly a 2k gold lead by level 1 Baby Slime, who has just been dominating these last couple of minutes, and it feels like that'll just keep moving forward.
Yeah, we see 2k, basically 2k gold leads from both sides. So the overall gold lead in the game is even. So it is definitely tough. But we got the Maiden of the Mist out and ready to smack away at this Aurelia. And that's one thing that you have to be afraid of when you're fighting against the York, but doesn't actually take the fight. Interestingly enough, Warwick is a scary champion when you're at low HP though. So I can understand the flash away. Doesn't want to get too greedy, takes his win, leaves, and just keeps his shutdown on himself, which is really good. You know, if he hesitates, he might not get the kill. So great stuff from him. Ends up going back, building an entire Blade of the Ruined King on himself, and this is gonna be a scary Aurelia very, very quickly. And looks like it's going to be the Kled and Scrawl versus level 1 Baby Slime show once again.
Yeah, and it's going to be different than before. As I said, Kled and Scrawl is not an especially tanky champion. That Aurelia, not super tanky. This could be a problem.
But level 1 Baby, or Chuki off the bat gonna go down. Level 1 Baby Slime is gonna be caught out. NYC gonna get one, but it's gonna end up going over to the Yuumi. NYC's still living, but Paco Parrot able to get it with the flash. Ooh, beautiful stuff. Gonna get the stun on both of them. Don't Miss Your Mark is gonna have to flash away as well as Paco, but Don't Miss Your Mark's just gonna end up going down. The Yuumi's on him as well now, and this Aurelia is just gonna keep going. Gonna keep on going.
Yeah, and the problem here is that Kled and Scrawl is, at least at this point, and in the 1v1 matchup, a lot stronger than level 1 Baby Slime. I don't think that level 1 Baby Slime has a lot of answers right. It's concerning.
Ooh. Okay. Sassy for Spaghetti. Going about even in this mid lane, about 20 CS down actually, so not the best of laning phases, but
it's fine. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're not giving up any kills. Okay, all right, cast your curse, I guess. Anyways, as I say that, Sassy for Spaghetti ends up going down. Beautiful stuff. The Rift Herald gonna get into this mid lane as well to make sure this turret goes down. Dark Danzy, 1 HP. Oh, he's gonna get walked down by the Draven, not even with an axe. But yeah, you just can't walk up that far without the Yuumi on you, and Yuumi was clearing a ward, and good. I will say good cognizance from level 1 Baby Slime to be like, all right, I don't have to, I can just walk up and kill you because you don't have your Yuumi for the tiny amount of time that she went to go clear a ward. So, and NYC Minority is gonna end up grabbing the Leandries. He's gonna be the damage dealer this game on this Lilia, and will definitely be a very strong secondary damage dealer when it comes to dealing with level 1 Baby Slime. And the last chapter already coming out. The Lilting Lullaby is going to come out, and the Smite is going to come out to finish it off. Chuki is going to go down at the end of it all as well. KP Cooper is going to get caught out by Sassy for Spaghetti with the Pop Blossom, and second dragon is going to end up going to John Jay.
Yeah, and this game keeps shifting rapidly back and forth, but I am preferring John Jay as this game moves forward. It feels like NJCU doesn't have a ton of options right now, that they're kind of focused too much on their Draven for anyone else to really be contributing much. And the production from...
But Paco is very strong on this Annie, and with the Tivers is just going to say, no, you think you can dance around, but it doesn't matter when I stun you with a point-and-click stun, so...
Yeah, and that's big, but honestly, I can't say the point-and-click stun is going to be incredibly important. At the very least, there are a couple of big targets that you can't really ignore. Both the Irelia and the Lilia are way too important to not focus down, and just one point-and-click stun can't hit both of them. They're both going to put out a lot of damage in these fights, so... Yep. This game gets later and later. I'm worried about NJCU.
NYC gonna get a little bit blocked by the Yorick wall, but should be able to just walk down Don't Miss Your Mark with the passive. Just waiting for his Q cooldown and just gonna keep going. Dark Danzy, good stuff. Gonna dodge the Pyroclasm with the ult of his own. So again, it's kind of the life of a Xayah in this lane. You're just sad. You have a Draven and a Brand in front of you, and every time you walk up, you're going to get every skill shot thrown at you, and you're going to have to just eat it and use your ult and walk away. So, and, you know, as we were saying, like, there's a lot of stuff on this Draven. Paco is still just chilling in mid lane with a 30 CS lead and 4 kills under his belt. So it's still very scary. So unless Kled and Skrull starts building, like, some resistances like now, it's gonna be very difficult. But KP Cooper whiffs the ultimate and is gonna end up going down. Chuki looking for the backup, but Sassy for Spaghetti just gonna use their W and just get out of there. But KP Cooper with the flash, with the ultimate, still not able to find anything onto NYC. So ooh, but the point-and-click stun, as I said before, and the Tiver is going to come out and just seal the deal on his fate. It's, you know, at this... I'm trying to think. Was the Tiver's worth killing the Xayah?
Yeah, that's the thing. At this point, the Xayah is not really providing a lot. I think it was probably worth it in this one instance. The cooldown's going to come back soon enough. It's just that... it's not an incredibly important kill at this point. There are a lot of kills at this point in the game.
Ooh, the stun of the Pyroclasm coming out onto Nico, though, living with 1 HP with the heal, Summoner Spell, and Kled and Skrull gonna end up getting a kill on the top side with Don't Miss Your Mark, though. Don't Miss Your Mark just falling further and further behind. Gonna get Flame Horizoned by Kled and Skrull at this point. Finishing his Triforce at this point. Irelia looking to probably go towards her Mythic at this point. Ooh, Paco, I don't know if he got that blue buff or not, but close enough. Yeah,
regardless, I think that despite the gold lead, NJCU's in a really awkward point. I don't like the scaling of Annie.
Oh, NYC just gonna get caught out though, but has the stopwatch and the Yuumi behind him. And the Lilting Lullaby is going to come out to stun, or to sleep the Warwick. Chuki, oh, you're a little bit too far forward as Brand, my guy. You're going to get just walked down by the Blade of the Ruined King. The Vanguard's Edge going to miss. And level 1 Baby Slime, no health, no mana, no summoner spells. Going to have to limp away back to his base.
Yep, and that's too early for Baron, so it's a Rift Herald. I was wondering if they were going for like an instant level 20 or 20-minute Baron. And yeah, it's just getting worse and worse for NJCU.
Oh, but Paco is sitting in a bush with the Tivers, but...
not enough. Just not enough.
The Yuumi. It's coming in clutch.
I mean, yeah, and that's one of the big things is that I don't think that Paco Parrot can burst someone important out. And if Paco Parrot cannot burst someone important out, the Yuumi healing can come through, and there's not a whole lot else. Level 1 Baby Slime is ahead, but not ridiculously so. It's not a, I'm going to kill everyone in your team Draven. It's more of a, if I get some time in a front line in front of me, I might get a couple of kills in a team fight. That's not...
the thing is, on the other side, you there's not really much of a front line on the other side either. This Yorick is building full damage, and so is this Warwick, but we got a flank from the Aurelia. The stun comes in, and might just be able to take out Paco Parrot, but ends up going down himself to the Yorick. And that's most of their lead at this point. NYC, the Pyroclasm is bouncing around. NYC looking for more, doing lots of damage with a lot of this damage. Ooh, the last chapter coming in. NYC gonna find a kill onto Chuki, and another one onto their jungler. Don't miss your mark. Gonna be limping away at 1 HP, but this Yuumi with this Lilia is gonna be quite fast, but not quite fast enough for the blast gun.
Yep, and just another fight that NJCU just can't really win. They didn't have the range on it, even though Kled and Skrull came through, and there's a kill out of the ADC again, 1 and 6, but not the carry.
There's another Tibbers.
Does have a kill force now, though. Eventually,
there's another 4 stacks on the Medjais, though.
That is important. Definitely. On the other side, Dark Danzy will eventually become important. An extra couple of stacks on the Medjais for Paco Parrot is important, but I'm just trying to figure out how much one Annie can. And I don't think it's an incredible amount. I think that you really want someone else to be dealing the bulk of the damage, especially in a team fight. Like, if you can burst one person out, that's nice. I don't think a single Tibbers is going to do a whole lot. I think you really have to be chaining together a bunch of things, and I just don't see how Paco Parrot can carry a team fight solo when there are multiple threats on the side of John Jay that are basically impossible to both burst out, especially now that we have the Vampiric Scepter, or not Vampiric, what am I saying? The Immortal Shield Bow. Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, the Immortal Shield Bow completed for Kled and Skrull, excuse me. That just makes it so much harder to kill this Irelia. I just don't know what the answer is. I really do not.
Yeah, you got Merc Treads on her as well, so she is quite strong right now, and is just going to pop the Rift Herald by herself in the bot lane. Level 1 Baby Slime is going to be trying to go on the bot. Oh, Flash Ultimate. Oh, the Pop Blossom might be enough! Not quite enough to get her Q off, though, onto Chuki. So, Sassy 4 Spaghetti going to end up going down to the mid lane by himself, but don't miss your mark. Just leave the turret. Just give it up. You don't need to be sitting under it. You're just... Alright, it's fine. But at the end of the day, Kled Skrull, another kill.
I mean,
another person coming over.
Value at this, like... It's not like the kill itself brings a whole lot of value. It's just having Don't Miss Your Mark not on the map able to clear anything.
Yep, the Pyroclasm gonna slow Kled and Skrull, though. The Flash gonna have to be burnt. Paco is at 1 HP. The Immortal Shield Bow actually gets popped, and it doesn't end up using any of the shield. The point and click stun comes out, and that's just gonna be a kill coming out from Paco. Beautifully played, not getting too ahead of himself. And NYC gonna try to catch out the Warwick, but this is not a fight you want to be taking. There are a lot of people in this jungle, but is able to get out. Lilia is a fast fawn, and but Sassy for Spaghetti is trying to back up his homie, but not quite. They're gonna leave, but Chuki, you don't need to be that far forward, but it's fine. NYC gonna come away with another kill. KP Cooper. Oh, this is a very split fight. KP Cooper, it does end up going down to Sassy 4 Spaghetti. So good stuff from him. NYC Minority is just living with all of this healing coming out from this Moonstone Yuumi. He's just not dying. So he's staying alive as much as possible. So great stuff coming out from him.
Yeah, and when you do have champions like Irelia and Leah who have a little bit of bulk built in, when you do have that healing on top of it, you're pretty tanky. It's not incredibly tanky, but you're bruiser-ish tankiness. You're not going to die from one combo from anyone. You aren't going to die just because you got CC'd once. You definitely need a bit more engagement, a bit more pressure in order to actually ever die. a bit more commitment. And John Jay is able to pick up on that as a team pretty easily because they have multiple carries. They just have so many threats. The damage comes from too many different sources.
Yeah, but at the same time, on the other side, Paco Parrot has just a massive shutdown on him. He's got 24 stacks off Medjai. He's got his Seraphs finished. He's got his Landry's finished. He's got a Blighting Jewel in his back pocket. Chuki gonna end up going down though, looking for a ward. Gonna get caught out, but I like the earlier Blighting Jewel coming out from Paco. He's ahead now, so it's a little bit easier for him to get. Not going to get quite outskilled by MR this time, but I want to see a little bit more MR come out from the other side. Sassy for Spaghetti going to send out the... Ooh, that's going to be an ult, but it's on to the Xayah. She's not doing much in these fights. Anyways, KP Cooper going to be going in with his ultimate, and she's going to not be able to get the dragon and can end up going down at the end of it all. And that's third dragon over to John Jay. And sole point for them.
I think they're also sprinting to Baron, and as you mentioned there, you just can't focus down the Xayah. You have to pick someone else. Xayah ain't doing anything. There are 2 champions with 8 kills on the other team. You've got to focus one of them. And that didn't happen, and so even though it was in positioning for NJCU, they...
Ooh, but Clouded Squall's getting really low off of this Baron. They are tanking it for a while. NYC, his clone's going to end up going down, but the Lilting Lullaby is going to get 2, and the Vanguard's Edge is going to hit. They should be able to clean this up. Beautiful stuff, but the stun's going to miss onto level 1 Baby Slime, but the Aurelia is still going to end up winning out in the end of it all. Don't Miss Your Mark is limping away, and KP Cooper trying to be the jungler that could, but is just going to end up probably going down, right? Yep, okay, going down. And again, Baron for John Jay. They tried, they didn't have the Tibbers for that fight, so you don't have that immense burst potential for Cled & Scrawl, because he was like very low from taking the Baron. It should have just been a free kill, but he used his flash and the Tibbers on just the Xayah last fight. So nothing for this fight, and that's a Baron for John Jay. And
to be honest, with the
coming in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, and with the shutdown and the Medjai stacks lost for Paco Parrot, NJCU is just falling further. That was so much gold value lost there, with how much John Jay picked up off of just one of the many kills they picked up in that series of skirmishes. So honestly, it is hard to imagine how John Jay... I mean, John Jay can definitely find ways to use this one. It feels difficult to see how NJCU will be able to really bring this one back within reason.
Yeah, it's really difficult at this point, especially with now the Demonic Embrace coming in for the Lilia, so helps with a lot more health as well as armor and MR when she hits a target, so it makes her a lot tankier, as well as a Spectre's Cowl coming in from Cled & Scrawl, just not being as susceptible to this anti-burst, so she is definitely just getting further and further, away from that one-shot potential that Paco Parrot might have on her. But still, it's still a 15-stack Medjai on Annie. She has her voice stuff complete, but Brand is getting caught out once again, and level 1 Baby Slime might just end up be going down as well. Beautiful Pop Blossom at the end of it all, getting a double kill for one of them. And Don't Miss Your Mark was in that mess as well, and KP Cooper is just going to die under the solace of his own turret, and Cled & Scrawl is just going to take down Paco Parrot 1 versus 1 in the side lane. And I think that's just it.
Yeah,
it is. Long death timers on everyone. They've got Baron. They just got to push down mid, and this should be it for them, I think. But we do have respawn timers coming back. They might not be able to finish if everything goes perfectly well, but they don't have the cooldowns for it, really. Level 1 Baby Slime is going to try his best, but the Pyroclasm isn't up from Chuki, so it just doesn't matter. The turret or the Nexus is just gonna go down to all of these cannon minions. Baron buffed up, so great stuff from John Jay to end up closing out this series.
I was really impressed by John Jay's play throughout the series. A bit disappointed in some of the things NJCU is going for. I don't think they needed to pull that weird support ADC swap with Brand 2 games in a row. It clearly didn't really work either time. Definitely didn't put them especially ahead either time. And we saw the power of just a flat-out enchanter in 2 straight games where you just provide so much healing to your team. Don't Miss Your Mark had a admittedly terrible series. Even in the one game, the second game, which went reasonably well, there was still a huge gold deficit, and Kled and Scrawl got really far ahead still towards the later stages of the game. Overall, it's a lot to work on for NJCU. It didn't feel like they had that huge macro advantage after game 1. It felt like they were just getting outplayed across the map. The micro was going in the favor of John Jay, and also just every team fight, they just had the tools that they needed. John Jay did, and it felt like NJCU didn't. I want to see them focus more on playing better champions, so they're not picking stuff like Annie and Warwick and just getting run over.
Yeah, and like the York, like while I can see it as a maybe a counter pick, but first picking it I don't think is the best idea. So like I think you can also switch some things up there, but like I think just MVP of the match you kind of just have to give it to Kled and Scrawl. He just like carried time and time again. Was the person who like kept his team in the game on the first game and just really did his job in both the second and the third game. So great stuff from him. Good job. And I think that's going to be it for us, though, at NJCU Esports. This is your casters, Taz Dragon and
Turquoise Yoshi. Thank you.
And we're going to be signing off. Check out NJCU in all of the socials down below. And we'll be seeing you next week for more esports action and next Friday, specifically for League of Legends.